It is Monday. Welcome in. This is Three Man Front on Jox. Pat, Conrad, Molly. Lange will be back with us later in the week. I did hear from him over the weekend. He is having a wonderful time in the most, what is it, the happiest place on the face of the earth?
Yeah,
Is that what they call it?
The happiest place on earth.
Yep.
He's taking pictures of people's feet, as we would expect from Landrum.
He sent me a picture of the step counter on his Apple Watch.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, are we like 30,000?
Yeah, I think it was like 35,000.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. Good
Big
exercise.
Time. Big time. He also took advantage of some powder and some things that we told him he needed to invest in.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, you need something, a little pick me up throughout
for
the day,
those
right?
that have braved the wonderful Orlando weather at Disney World in the month of July, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's not cool.
No, it's not. But if you are properly medicated, you should be able to zip right through those lines and enjoy yourself, those 35,000 steps.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they got their flash passes, whatever, so they should just be zipping through those parks.
Oh, yeah, he was
going
bragging
on all
about
their,
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was all fired up about that.
Well, we had to tell him on Friday what the best rides were because, he's trying to get a consensus on what the must-ride things are, attractions are at Disney World. So I hope that he was able to get to the teacups and It's a Small World and all of the other highlights that we told him about on
Well, there was
Friday.
a little bit of drama at the beginning, and I know I won't share the story because I'll let him tell it at the back end of the week. But let's just say that there was a little bit of controversy at the beginning just because, certain rides are not open every day. Might be down for maintenance or they might be working on something. So
one of the more popular rides maybe was
a few of them.
Oh, a few of them.
Yeah. But I think as the day progressed, I think they were able to.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
that would be quite a bummer to go down there.
Yeah, he was not happy.
Have a laundry list of rides and then find out that half of them are.
That happened to me a few years ago with Everest. Everest is my favorite ride at Disney.
I feel like that one has had problems. I haven't been there in over 10 years, but even back then they had problems with the Yeti. It seems like the Yeti was always broken.
The Yeti's still there.
Good.
Well, the Yeti is now a projected shadow. But like one year when I went, it was actually
there's like an animatronic
Yeti.
That's how it was when I went back in the good old days.
And it kept breaking down.
Yes.
So they were like, got to get rid of it. So
that's a shame.
So the repercussions of the SEC media poll, that continues to be a hot debate amongst the SEC brethren around the Southeastern Conference. For those that might have been off and about on Friday and you did not get an opportunity to see it, the voters of the SEC media, which was 204, there was over 1,200 media credentialed in Atlanta, but only 204 voted. So just doing the math, that is less than 20% of the total media that was in Atlanta. Now, there are some people that they elect not to vote, i.e. Mike Griffith.
Yes.
Who is a regular guest on this program every Tuesday. He has never voted. He says just will not vote, and that's his prerogative. I have voted every single year that I have been a part of SEC Media Days. We've done a horrible job getting it right. It's about like 30-something percent since 1992.
But that's what makes it interesting. And I don't know. I look at it as if you don't want to vote, I'm not saying that, that it's wrong necessarily. I guess I just look at it as it's kind of an honor, right? You get to go and make your voice heard. And like you said, we get it wrong a lot of the time, but it's cool to be part of the mix and get to see kind of what your predictions or expectations are compared to everyone else.
And I've said this before on the show. I'm fortunate because I'm a part of certain organizations that I do not vote for the Heisman, but I do vote for the major other awards in college football, including All-Americans, Doak Walker, those type of awards. I do vote, and I take those very seriously, very seriously. Now, I'm not sure if the rest of our SEC brethren just kind of blow it off and don't really care about voting or whatever the case may be, but needless to say, they've got Alabama at number 3. Auburn came in at number 11. This is the 5th straight year Auburn was selected in the bottom half of the conference. 5th straight year. The Tigers picked to finish number 11 in this year's media poll. Auburn was picked number 11 and number 10 before Hugh Freeze's first and second seasons, and he finished number 11 and number 14 in the final standings. Auburn is 22 and 28 in its last 4 seasons, so there's 6 games under 500. Another reason why there was not a lot of love for the SEC media for Auburn.
Hey, one person did pick Auburn to win the SEC title, though.
They did. Out of the 204 people that voted, one person, Molly, voted Auburn to win the SEC championship.
Hate to break it to you, Pat, but that was not me.
That was not you.
No, it was.
It was
no.
very nice of you, Molly.
I think it was a different Molly.
That must have been one of the. You must have been one of the 2 votes for Ole Miss to win the.
I thought she was one of the 2 Vanderbilt votes.
Yeah, Pat, come on.
Oh, I can't. I don't know which one it was.
Now, if somebody had picked Missouri to win, then that definitely would have been Molly.
Oh yeah, that for sure would have been me.
Yeah.
So that's how you know it wasn't.
Exactly. True.
So only 10 times since 1992 has the predicted champion at SEC Media Days gone on to win the SEC championship game, but 3 out of the last 5 seasons, the media has gotten it correct.
Okay.
Including Georgia last year.
And that was one that, honestly, late in the season didn't look very likely to come true, and then it ultimately did.
So historically speaking, done a horrible job, but 3 out of the last 5 years,
not bad.
Been able to nail it. But for the first time in the history of the poll that started back in 1992, Alabama did not have a preseason first all SEC selection on defense.
Yep.
And what's so weird about that is that Alabama is going to be, most people believe, better on the defensive side of the ball than the offensive side of the ball. Now, they filled up these second and third teams of the SEC media poll, but man, that's just cannot believe not one single defender for Alabama made that list.
Yeah, that was a bit surprising for me, especially with, I mean, like you said, I agree. I think most people have more confidence in the defensive side of the ball than the offensive side of the ball going into the season. I think a lot of people expect that Alabama, probably have one of the 2 or 3 best defenses in the entire conference. I don't think anybody's going to be shocked if at the end of the year they end up having the best defense even in the SEC. But, I mean, they did load up the second team, but you would just think, especially with the secondary, and, you do have guys coming back from injury. Like, I wonder if that affected, the Keon Sabbs and Deontay Lawsons of the world, guys that we know are elite level talents when they are on the field, but maybe some people a little wait and see on how they look after their, some pretty serious injuries there. But yeah, a bit of a surprise, but hey, a chip on the shoulder for a lot of those guys, your LT Overtons, your Tim Keenans, your Damani Jacksons, those kind of guys that found themselves on the second and third teams that maybe flying a little under the radar.
What was so amazing is that the media days has been around since 1985. So it's been almost 40 years.
It's remarkable
that Alabama had a player that made first team SEC, according to the media poll, but they did not this year. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Auburn is expecting some good news later this afternoon on the football front. 4-star linebacker Jaquez Wilkes from Wadley, Alabama, the hybrid defender, he is going to announce this afternoon at 4 o'clock. All indications are that it is going to be a War Eagle Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama, Florida State, Miami, Texas A&M are the finalists. Texas A&M has really come on strong here towards the back end of his recruitment. But Christian Clemente from Auburn Undercover, he is predicting that he will commit to Auburn. He is 6'4", 220-pound defender, plays at 1A Wadley High School. Auburn currently sits at 75th in recruiting nationally with their 10 commitments.
This would be a big one. I think you could make an argument even that this might be the biggest one so far for Auburn, but it's a guy we've heard about for a while, trending towards Auburn. That connection has stayed true for a number of weeks now. And yeah, I think if you're an Auburn fan, you absolutely expect him to commit. We'll wait and see. You mentioned Alabama being a finalist. Haven't really heard him mentioned with anybody outside of Auburn as I guess a big threat. You said Texas has kind of started to come on strong in his recruitment, but this is, again, these are the kinds of pickups that you need. Just you're trying to get back up into the 30s, the 20s, and these are the kinds of guys that you have to get. I don't think you're going to have any sort of stretch like Alabama did necessarily where you're going to go and get 3 or 4 5-star guys in a 10-day period, but these are the kinds of guys that, can end up being really, really special players. I mean, 4-star linebacker is good, and they need linebacker help with some of the roster changes they've had recently.
Are you concerned about Alabama's recruiting now? They're out of the top 5?
No. I think they're fine.
Texas has gone on a big-time winning streak over the course of the last week.
Yeah.
They get a Georgia commit to decommit, go to Texas. Yesterday, they get a 5-star commitment. So Bama has now been pushed out. Even with those 5-star commitments for Alabama, Alabama's no longer a top 5 recruiting program, Conrad.
Yeah, and it's a bad day, Pat. I thought we were going to skip over this, but no, I think they'll be fine. But Texas has been on a tear. Georgia's had an excellent time. I know that they had a little bit of a rough week last week, but that was kind of one of the funny things of media days that we were talking about while we were there. Is you had Texas and Georgia on the same day. And not only that day did Texas get the defensive lineman to flip from Georgia to Texas, they also got that 5-star linebacker Atkinson to commit as well, who it was down to Texas and Georgia. So, yeah, it's been a big week for them, but that's all right. Alabama's going quality over quantity, Pat.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that I'm sure you were on the Tighter Insider message boards this weekend asking the proverbial question, what's going on with Alabama recruiting?
Oh, Rodney, calm me down. We're good. Big things are coming.
Did you get up early and watch the Open this weekend? I mean, you played golf this weekend. Did you not watch golf?
I watched
it.
Yeah, I was able to catch a little bit on Saturday is when I was tuned in. But, yeah, I was busy yesterday getting prepared and going out on the course and having a big time. But I certainly didn't play as well as Scotty Scheffler did.
I'll tell you what, he wins his first British Open, wins it by 4 strokes. He's now won each of his first 4 career majors by 3 shots or more.
It's remarkable.
So it wasn't by accident. And
he was coasting.
That has never been done in the modern era, by the way. Tiger didn't even do that. So Scotty Scheffler making history. He's 3/4 of the way for the Grand Slam. He needs the U.S. Open. The next 4 U.S. Opens are at Shinnecock, Pebble Beach, Winged Foot, and Pinehurst. So those are the next 4 sites of the U.S. Open. He's won 2 green jackets, PGA Championship, British Open, and an Olympic gold medal. But the stat that will really blow your mind, that the major championship note that they released yesterday during the broadcast, it took Tiger Woods 1,197 days from his first major win to win his 4th major. Yesterday marked the exact same number of days for Scotty Scheffler to go from his first major win to his 4th. It's incredible what he has been able to do.
Yeah, and I said it this morning.
He's 29.
And which makes me feel great because I'm 29 as well. And
what have you done in your life, Conrad?
Exactly.
I was just about to ask.
Make Auburn fans mad about my takes on them, I guess, on the radio. But no, it's remarkable what he's been able to accomplish. And I said it this morning. I mean, this is the closest that you've gotten to Tiger Woods since Tiger Woods. I'm not saying that he's in that same category. Tiger Woods is the greatest golfer of all time, in my opinion. Scotty has a long way to go, but the stretch that he's been on now, I think Rory even said it yesterday when he was talking to the media. There's maybe 2 or 3 guys ever that have played at such a high level in a 2.5 year span that we've seen Scotty do since he won his first Masters. So it's absolutely incredible. I mean, he shot 68 or better every single round of the tournament. He shot a 64 in the second round. I mean, it's incredible. And it really is. You go into every tournament going, all right, Scotty Scheffler, the field, I feel dumb not taking Scotty Scheffler versus literally every other golfer in the world because he's just been that good.
It was interesting. I was watching an interview with Jordan Spieth after Spieth's round, and he basically said, Scheffler's always been a guy that has always been good. But he said a couple years ago when he basically decided that he was going to put his family first, and that part of his life was going to dictate the terms of what he did professionally, that it kind of flipped for him. And it's almost like, hey, I've got this wonderful life going on over here, and that just made the golf part just much easier. And so by him separating the 2 facets has been more success on the links than it did before. So
did you see the Nike ad that they put out last night with him? And so if you haven't seen it, it's Scotty Scheffler and his son on the golf course, and it just says, "You've already won." Yeah. And then it's a picture of Scotty Scheffler that says, "But another major never hurt."
And of course,
it's awesome.
Great ad.
And it was awesome because they had the Nike onesie on his son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course. But no, that was a very cool ad. But no, that's Amazing things happen in your life when you prioritize the right things.
Did you see the
It just
video
kind of takes care of itself.
from 2009 when Spieth and Scheffler, they were playing in an amateur in Dallas, and Zalatoris was also part of that, and they interviewed all three of them. And I mean, these are middle school kids.
Yeah.
And I think Scheffler in that shot like a 74 as a middle school kid.
It's remarkable.
But just having the interview and watching them.
Oh, yeah. And all three of them turned out to be
Yeah.
exceptional.
Wow.
Yeah, because Zalatoris was a little older than Spieth and Scheffler. But yeah, it was amazing.
That's very
that
cool.
those three guys played in this little amateur when they were in middle school in Dallas in 2009.
I love stuff like that. It's like, you know, when Cal Raleigh won the home run derby and they show the home video of him as a kid, like, I won the home run derby. And it's so cool when you see those things and then they actually turn that into reality later in life. Very special.
So coming up later on the program, Skip Holtz, the head football coach of the Birmingham Stallions. The Stallions, they have a football camp coming up later this week. We will talk to Coach Skip Holtz about that. Also, Peter Rauterkus will join us from AL.com. He covers the Auburn Tigers. We'll get the very latest on what's going on with Malcolm Simmons and Peter's thoughts. He was over in Atlanta covering media days. We'll get his take on where the Auburn Tigers are currently ranked in the SEC media poll. But when we come back, one of our brethren in the SEC, Matt Moscona from ESPN Radio down in Louisiana, had some interesting takes on the SEC media poll, including where Alabama is. I know that shocks a lot of people out there. We'll get into that. It's Reaction Monday. Love to hear from you on the Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450, 1-800-239-WJOX. It is 10:20, back in studio, Reaction Monday, 1-800-239-WJLX, 205-834-9450. We do have media days going on in the Big Ten and the ACC. Those all begin tomorrow. The ACC Media Days begins in Charlotte. Big Ten Media Days will be in the wonderful Big Ten town of Las Vegas, Nevada. Some of the highlights tomorrow in the ACC will be Miami and SMU. Ohio State, Nebraska, and Illinois. They will be at the podium tomorrow.
Powerhouses right there.
GBR.
Yep. Those will be the teams on Tuesday. The fun for the ACC, I believe it's Thursday, you'll have Clemson, Duke, North Carolina. So having Clemson and Belichick on the same day, that will be fascinating.
Will Jordan be at ACC Media Days?
I'm going to predict she's not.
I second.
I'm going to hope she is.
Yeah, I mean, we're all hoping for her to be there.
But, yeah, we'll get a live report or two from the ACC Media Days coming up in the next couple of days. So we've been talking about this predicted order of finish SEC football media days that came out on Friday, came out at noon, in which Texas, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, those were the top 4 teams voted on by the media. Over 1,200 media credentials, which means if you're credentialed, you get an opportunity to vote. Only 204 people voted. Less than 20%.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people have been talking about it just like we have. And Matt Moscona, good friend of the program, he does a radio show every weekday afternoon down on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge. And obviously he had some comments about LSU, being 4th. But he also pointed out that he or other members of their crew there on that radio station, they were so busy they failed to vote. So they
might have made a difference.
They did not vote. One of the things that I saw him on social media, Lenora Sellers being voted ahead of Garrett Nussmeier was one that...
Because he compared their stats from last year.
Yes. So that was one that he definitely threw out there.
While conveniently leaving out the rushing stats for the quarterbacks. But anyways.
He also said that it was the first time, and maybe as long as he's been a member of the media, that he actually voted LSU to win the SEC championship this year, which, by the way, I mean, I'm not dinging him for that. I think LSU, I think Texas, Georgia, Alabama, or LSU, any 4 of those teams, in my opinion, just my opinion.
It's a legitimate pick.
Yeah. Absolutely. So if you voted for any of those 4 teams to win the SEC championship, I'm not gonna just rail on you, because I think every single one of those top 4 teams potentially could be that team.
Absolutely.
But he also started to go off about Georgia and Alabama, and it's always fun. Matt knows that we love him to death. And
great guy, very nice guy.
I mean, when he says things like this, he knows that we're going to pick up on it and we're going to play it for you just to, kind of show you what other people around the Southeastern Conference think about certain things. Here's Matt Moscona from Friday talking about Texas, Georgia, and Alabama.
Are we just assuming Georgia's going to be awesome? I'm not. By the way, 54% of their roster are first or second year players. They're super young. Alabama. Oh, I'm sorry. Have I not been the guy sitting here since the day Nick Saban retired telling you it's never going to be the same there? They're not going to bottom out. I'm not telling you they're going 6-6, but they're a 9-3. They're a perennial 9-3 football team. That's what Alabama's going to be. I'm supposed to just buy Ty Simpson being great? Ryan Grubb's going to come in and save the day? I mean, isn't Kalen DeBose supposed to be the offensive guru, the guy who, he can't function if he doesn't have Ryan Grubb? Get lost. Kick rocks. Kane Womack, the guy who gave up 40 to Vanderbilt, boom, he's just going to figure it out this year and Bama's going to be awesome? No. They're going to lose 3 games. They're going to be a 3-loss team.
All right, Conrad, your thoughts on our good friend Matt Moscona and those comments?
Oh, I mean, that's the least surprising thing I've ever heard from Matt Moscona, but again, if you want to play that game, I think you absolutely can. I think a lot of the things he brought up, are fair, right? Why should you believe in Ty Simpson? If you don't believe in him because you haven't seen him and you want to go with if he was really that good, why didn't he play over Jalen Milroe last year? That's valid. I think that's a valid concern to have. I think it's also a valid criticism of, okay, so Kalen DeBoer got hired as an offensive genius, and some of those issues, or a lot of the issues last year, were on the offensive side of the ball with a first-year offensive coordinator. So is Ryan Grubb really the mastermind behind the whole Kalen DeBoer thing and his success? If you want to go that route, I think that's perfectly fair. But to insinuate that Alabama is, again, not going to hit rock bottom, as he said, but a perennial 9-3 program, which is exactly what LSU currently is. I mean, that's just kind of humorous, in my opinion. And I think also, look, again, if you want to criticize Ty Simpson, the offense, all that stuff, I think that's fine. But okay, the Vanderbilt game defensively was a disaster last year for Alabama. Did he watch the second half of the season? How many points did LSU score in Alabama last year? Was it 6, Pat? Was it 6? Again, he doesn't believe half the things that he says about Alabama, but he says them because he's an LSU radio host and he knows that he'll get the listeners riled up, and that's exactly what we would expect him to do. That's par for the course for our buddy Matt.
Well, the other thing that's interesting, once again, not a ding. You can vote or not vote. They were very critical about how the media voted, but nobody from your radio station voted. So, I mean, it's like somebody that's complaining about the federal government, but you never go vote.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like when people don't exercise their right to go to the ballot box and vote, and you want to sit around and be critical of things, I got a problem with that.
No, I absolutely agree. It's you have an opportunity to make your voice heard, whichever way it is. And I know my vote's not going to make a difference. Okay, and maybe it doesn't in an election with an entire, millions and millions of people. But you're telling me for SEC Media Days, you want to complain that Garrett Nussmeier was ranked the second team quarterback behind Lenore Sellers, and you have 5 teammates who, if they had voted, I think we all assumed they probably would have voted Garrett Nussmeier as the first team quarterback. I don't know the breakdown of the votes, but I think it's safe to say that 5 first-place votes very well could have catapulted him to that first spot, and then you wouldn't have that to complain about. So are you more upset at people voting in a way that you disagree with, or people that you work with that would be on your side not voting at all? Maybe have a word with them.
Interesting philosophy when it comes to those that do and do not vote for SEC Media Days. In my opinion, if you don't vote for whatever during SEC Media Days, you might want to curb your criticism of those that did take the time to vote.
So did he vote?
Moscona?
Yes.
He did not.
Okay. So it wasn't just him or just his teammates. It was also him.
No. He said that they were in the Uber heading to the airport, and they realized that they had forgotten to vote.
They must have had such a heated discussion around how they were going to vote that they just forgot to take the time to actually do it.
So we will get to your phone calls, your text messages. This is Reaction Monday. Skip Holtz is going to join us in the noon hour. Peter Raderkus from AL.com. He will give us an update of what's going on the Auburn front in football. All that straight ahead on Jox. This is 3-Man Front. Welcome back in. It's three-man front on this Monday. 1-800-239-WJOX. 205-834-9450 is the courtesy GMC text line. Let's go to the phones. It is Reaction Monday. Let's talk to Chris, who starts things off on this Monday. Hey, Chris.
How's it going, guys? Everything kosher?
Everything is beautiful. I hope you're doing well.
I was fine. I ain't been able to get through ever since it happened. But first, let me address Conrad. Conrad, next time I ask you to join the shirtless section in the Stallions game, I expect you to do it because clearly after you've shown what you've done at Soho shows, you don't have shame. Okay.
That's fair. I do not have shame. I'll admit that.
Because to think about it, you technically made out with a quarter of the audience, second-handedly, but you still technically made out with them.
Well, but I got paid to do it.
How much was it? 200 and what?
$225 and 2 beers.
I think we lost Chris.
I think we lost Chris. Sorry, Chris. You can try calling back. But let's go to Robert. Robert in Greenville. He wants to chime in on Matt Moscona. How we doing, Robert?
Good morning. How y'all doing today?
Doing well.
First of all, I do agree with – didn't have a chance to talk about the media poll. I do agree that Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and LSU should be 1 through 4. I've got LSU ahead of Georgia because LSU's schedule is a bit easier. I think Georgia's going to lose not 1 but 2 home games this year and have that 31-game home winning streak snap. I got them losing to both Alabama and Texas, and I've got LSU losing to Clemson and to Alabama. But I do think that Alabama will win out on the tiebreaker. I have Texas winning the SEC championship. But as far as the Matt Moscona comments are concerned, look, I do not agree with him at all. I mean, first of all, Ty Simpson has been in the program for 4 years. His dad is a head football coach at UT Martin. I trust his judgment, his ability to run the offense because of the way he can create mismatches with checks at the line of scrimmage. And his ability to make good decisions. He can throw the short and deep and intermediate passes well. He has a good deep ball. No, it's not Milrose, but he doesn't make the clumsy mistakes like Milrose did last year, especially against zone coverage. Okay, and the other thing is this defense of Alabama's did improve toward the end of the season. And to have Deontay Lawson back, albeit you hate to see it coming from an injury, I think is a huge plus. I think the secondary, even without Malachi Moore, who, by the way, is starting his NFL career with the Jets this week, is going to be terrific with Xavier Brown and Keon Sabb. But I just think it was a terrible comment to call Kalen DuBose because the man was there for 1 year. Okay, he had a major transition. We all, he had to go through, and this team had to go through, win 9 games against a very tough schedule. And, oh, by the way, Alabama's defense basically shut Garrett Nussmeier down, and LSU has got some questions at. Like, this is the same Matt Moscona who said replacing 4 offensive linemen isn't a big deal. Okay, yeah, he says they got 2 plug-and-play people from the transfer portal, but still – you hate to go into Clemson, the real Death Valley, and have to come in with 4 new starting offensive linemen, and then they had no running game whatsoever. I know Alabama's was basically a quarterback-based running game, but if you look at what Ryan Grubb did when he was at Washington, okay, and he faced some pretty good defenses in Oregon and Utah and Arizona State in 23 when the Pac-12 18's ranked top 25. The numbers go off the charts, and he's going to demand excellence. He's brought a culture change, the offensive side of the ball, where everybody is going to be held accountable, and he's going to be very aggressive with his play calling. He's going to run the ball more, and I just think that that Moscona, he's just not a reliable source. I mean, most of the people in the state of Louisiana are that way. I mean, they can't see from their purple and gold glasses. I mean, LSU's got some issues in the secondary that they got to deal with. I mean, and he is totally wrong that Alabama is a 9-3 program. I think I do see them going 10-2. I've got them going 11-2, losing to Oklahoma and losing to Texas in the SEC championship game. And you got 16 or 17 seniors compared to 8 or 9 last year on scholarship. I mean, if I'm at Moscona, I'd just be worried about my own team and get ready for Clemson. I think he's totally wrong. He does not need to be on this show because he does not know how to be objective when it comes to Alabama.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you,
Appreciate the
Robert.
phone call. 1-800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450. First off, I'm going to defend Matt. I've known Matt a very long time. Matt knows football.
Yeah.
Matt is an outstanding member of the media when it comes to Southeastern Conference football. Granted, we have differing opinions, but Matt is extremely sharp when it comes to that. So I will defend him on that front.
Yeah, no, and I mean, he is a genuinely good dude in sports media, and we love every time we get to talk to him. Like you said, do we agree with a lot of things, particularly involving teams in this state? No, we don't, but he is also the host of a radio show in Louisiana that features the LSU Tigers.
I've said this a million times. What we do here in the state of Alabama is completely different because in the state of Louisiana, there is no checks and balances. It is LSU. That is it.
Yep.
In the state of Mississippi, there's checks and balances because you have Ole Miss and Mississippi State. You're in the state of Texas, you got about 12 checks and balances. Not just Texas and Texas A&M, but you got the Baylors, the TCUs, the SMUs. Go on and on and on. Florida, multiple teams. Georgia, not much of a checks and balances with Georgia Tech and Georgia.
No.
But in this state, whether you want to, I mean, we're getting people on the text line, really killing us about talking too much Alabama. It's obviously coming from an Auburn fan. And then if we say anything like reading a press release about Malcolm Simmons, we get text messages saying that we're Auburn haters.
Yep.
It just happens. But we have a checks and balances in the state of Alabama, unlike that in the state of Louisiana. Because if you tick off the wrong person in the state of Louisiana, then all of a sudden, there's no sponsors, there's no this, there's no that. But at least in the state of Alabama, you do have what I consider the checks and balances with both programs. So we will continue with your phone calls at 1-800-239-WJOX. The Courtesy GMC text line is lighting up as we speak. We'll get to those next on this Reaction Monday. 1044, your calls are welcome at 1-800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450 on the Courtesy GMC text line. And the text line is already making Conrad over there blush and laugh at the same time. So let's get to the text line and tell us what they're saying about this wonderful program of ours.
Yeah, a lot of people are not happy with how much Alabama football we've talked to start off the program today. So we'll start off with this one because they have texted in 3 times in the last 45 minutes. So they really feel passionately about this. So these texts read, I'll read them in order. First off, it is so unprofessional to have someone on the air that is such a fan and so biased towards one team. Nobody else on the air acts like they are such huge fans of a school. This is not an Alabama radio station. Landrum's an Auburn fan, but he would never show it. Pat and Landrum are so professional and knowledgeable. Conrad only knows one thing, and it's the Tide.
Amen.
You're damn right. Let's see. Someone else chiming in. Alabama got better at every position except maybe quarterback. Their defense is going to be top 5 in the country, and Matt believes there should be no debate at all that LSU should be preseason polled to finish better than Alabama after losing by 30 to them last year. Also, I guess no team can ever be dominant again since Nick Saban doesn't coach anymore. Appreciate the text. See, CJ, he chimes in. Is Matt talking about the Kane Womack that shut LSU down so much last year that he had Brian Kelly mad because he wouldn't back off at the end of the game and let them score? That is correct, CJ. That would be the same
in the month of
defensive coordinator.
Now, it was not a very good October for Alabama. Alabama defense averaged around 357 yards a game.
Yeah, not good.
In the month of October. But in the month of November, they played 4 games. And they averaged only giving up 317 yards per game. So they kind of fixed some wrongs there in the month of November, including that big game down in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yeah, they ended up with giving up about 17.5 points a game last year, which was good for 4th in the SEC. So not bad. Just for anybody who's interested, LSU gave up 24 points a game last year on defense. Someone else chiming in. They bring up the Oklahoma game was also an example. Yeah, and while as Vanderbilt, where the defense wasn't great, and while that one maybe you didn't give up as many points, certainly the inability to stop the run game for Oklahoma, that wasn't good. That
keep
was
in
not
mind
a great
that
defensive game.
Jalen Milroe also decided to throw to the other team and give up pick sixes.
That also did not help. And the same person chimes in and says, what Matt said about Alabama is what everyone outside of Bama Glazers agrees with him. They're going to go 9-3. That's why they were voted 3rd. Okay. Well, last year, if you finished 3rd, that was Tennessee, and they won 10 games and went to the college football playoff. So if you finish 3rd in the SEC, you should be in the playoff, and I think whether that's 9 or 10 wins, that'd be good sign for Alabama fans, I think. JJ chimes in. I really feel like DeBoer okay, that's a typo. He says, I really feel like DeBoer stuck with Milroe for 2 reasons. One, his loyalty for staying at Alabama after Nick Saban left. And secondly, it was his season to go into the NFL draft. I really think we're going to see a very different team this year, and I'm stoked. Can't wait to see them prove all the critics wrong. Would you agree with that for sticking with Jalen Milroe because of his loyalty and to allow him to have the best chance to go to the NFL?
I don't know if the NFL had anything to do with it, but I do believe that it was very important that one of your team captains and one of the guys that tried to hold the roster together when you came to Tuscaloosa, I think he was given a huge benefit of the doubt last season.
And I think there were certainly, I know a lot of people would bring up the bowl game, but I think there are other games too where you would look and say, okay, maybe in other years you would have seen a Ty Simpson get some playing time or get an opportunity. And I think there's a very specific reason you didn't last year. And a lot of it has to do with that loyalty that he was going to show to Jalen Milroe. And let's be honest, when Jalen Milroe was on, see the LSU game, the first half of the Georgia game, he was a great player. Yep. It was just, you didn't really know what you were going to get every time out on the field if you were Alabama. Let's see. Darren from Tennessee chimes in. Who cares about the haters? Let them all know. Lank. All right. Thank you, Darren. See, someone chimes in. Does Matt have something wrong with a team being a 9-3 program? Because that's exactly what LSU is under Brian Kelly.
I would say the amount of money that LSU has spent in the transfer portal, getting those 18 guys, that if they find themselves outside of the college football playoff and they don't go 9-3, then LSU's got bigger problems.
And we brought that up. I know Mike Griffith doesn't agree with that, but we had Matt Moscona on this show, and he was even in agreement that, if LSU is not in the playoff this year, that they're going to have some difficult conversations around Brian Kelly.
And speaking of that, our poll question today, Molly, has to do with who is the most pressurized SEC head coach this year.
Yeah, of course, we gave you 4 options. We gave you Billy Napier, Brian Kelly, Hugh Freeze, and Brent Venables. And right now, with over 200 votes, 64% of our audience says Hugh Freeze.
Who's number 2?
Number 2 is Brian Kelly with 15%. Then we have Brent Venables at 11% and Billy Napier with 10%.
Okay. So Sunbelt Billy might make it another year.
Yeah, I would have thought Venables would be second on that one. So that's interesting that our listeners are going with old BK there down in Baton Rouge. Let's see. Someone else says Matt Moscona is doing exactly to y'all what y'all do to every team that's not named Alabama. A lot of Alabama disdain this morning on the text line, but we appreciate and Gavin chiming in on the Braves, but we can get to that in a little bit. A wonderful stat that you shared with me over the weekend as well that we can get to. A wonderful stat for me, not if you are much of a Braves fan. Someone else chiming in says, I love you all. Best show ever. Keep up the good work. Well, we appreciate that.
Thank you so much. We love your text messages. We love the interaction. 205-834-9450. 1-800-239-WJOX. Some shows around the Southeastern Conference, they don't even take phone calls. Don't even read texts or read tweets. It's just hosts coming on and going on diatribes and giving their takes one after another. We love to hear from you, especially on Reaction Monday. A little bit of college football news. The Athletic is reporting that former BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff has committed to Tulane.
Wow. Okay.
There was talks that Oklahoma State could have been a spot for him to land. Now, I was unaware of this, but according to the story, that John Sumrall, when he was at Troy, recruited Retzloff heavily to Troy. So he's got a relationship. So now this is not official, but this is being reported by The Athletic that former BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff has committed to the Green Wave.
That's not bad. Interesting. Okay, yeah, that's an interesting landing spot for him. I mean, you're Tulane, you let Darian Mensah walk, right? He gets the big payday to go to Duke, and now you find yourself with a guy. I mean, he was good enough to win double-digit games for BYU last year. He's obviously got a little something to him, so that's interesting there. We'll see how the rest of his situation plays out, I suppose, before we know if he's going to be able to play this year or not, but that's interesting.
Yeah, so he led BYU to an 11-2 record. If he stayed at BYU, he was facing a 7-game suspension for breaking the student honor code, which premarital sex is not allowed on BYU's campus.
And we were told that initially, right, the team to look out for was actually Notre Dame, right?
Notre Dame was one, and so was Oklahoma State. Let's go back to the phones. Let's try to grab another one before the top of the hour. Joe joins us here on Three Man Front. Good morning, Joe. How are you?
How are y'all doing, fellas?
Doing well.
I gotta agree with Matt on some stuff, and it's a roundabout way. What he said about Saban and DeBoer, 11-10-2 to 9-3. Who knows what would happen if Saban stayed there? If Saban was there, he's probably getting more money from the alumni. So you can't make that comparison with the NIL today. And I could see Alabama staying at 9-3 the way NIL is. I could see LSU staying at 9-3 myself, to be quite honest with you, even though they went and bought all them people. Until LSU figures out they can stop a running quarterback, they may lose to Florida, South Carolina. That's 2 right off the bat. And I'll just hang up at that. You have a good day, my friend.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for the phone call very much. Interesting. And for you that just tuned in, and we'll play it again later on in the show, but our good friend Matt Moscona from ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge, he was discussing the SEC football media poll pointing out the fact that 204 people voted, over 1,200 were credentialed. LSU was fourth, and he also brought up Alabama, and he had some interesting thoughts on the program under, as he calls them,
Kalen DeBose.
Yeah, Kalen DeBose.
Yes, he didn't agree with. I'm assuming he didn't agree with the media ranking Alabama ahead of LSU in the projected order of finish. Alabama was third, LSU was fourth. He also conveniently himself and his constituents there at that radio station in Louisiana did not vote.
Yeah, he admitted that they were busy and they were in the Uber going to the airport and they did not vote.
But he was still upset at the results in the poll that he did not vote on.
And our guest tomorrow, Mike Griffith, he never votes.
No.
As well. And of course, we'll ask Mike if the media got it right or wrong tomorrow, including Georgia being number 2. Our number 1 is in the books. Skip Holtz will join us later. Peter Radakus as well from AL.com. So much ahead on this Reaction Monday. Join us here on Jox. Welcome back as we roll along on three-man front on Jox. Welcome back into the program. Conrad, Molly, myself, Landrum Roberts will be back with us later this week. He's on vacation this week down in the wonderful low humidity of Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, something like that. I would love to know what ride he's on right now. You know, like where he's in line or what he's doing. Because he said he wasn't going to make it to all of the parks, correct? Because he was kind of trying to get us to rank.
Yeah, I'm not really sure
Once
where
he
he
needs
is
to
today.
go to.
I know where he was over the weekend, but not sure.
Hopefully he's having a great time.
Yep.
Maybe he's listening to us on Space Mountain.
I know that he was going to try to get
Ooh.
in to see Scott Frost because he was wanting to get some stuff signed for Molly.
Oh, yes. I did give him a hat.
The Central Florida hat.
Mhm.
Yes.
And a 2017 National Championship towel.
Ah, yes.
College football news this morning. Jake Rutzloff, the former quarterback for BYU, who went 11-2, who left the school amid a little bit of a scandal. He supposedly has committed to Tulane, according to ESPN and The Athletic.
So we have not, and maybe I missed it, but I do not believe we've gotten more clarity on his situation because we knew at BYU you brought up the premarital sex thing and that breaking their code of conduct and being a problem for him, but there was also a legal matter.
To my knowledge, everything was dropped.
That was all dropped and taken care of? Okay.
So to my knowledge, there is outside of him facing a 7-game suspension for breaking the BYU student code of conduct, which states that you are unallowed to have premarital sexual relations. And that was admitted in the court documents that he had premarital sex, and that was going to cost him a number of games, a suspension.
But he could now, since he's gone to Tulane, he could, I guess, ideally be the starter for them week 1.
I do not see
There'd
any
be no problems there.
legal ramifications that is still over his head that would
Okay.
make him ineligible.
Well, not a lot of time to get acclimated, but we will certainly see if he's able to come along. But yeah, that's a good get for Tulane, no doubt about it.
It sure is. Auburn football is expecting some good news later this afternoon as 4-star linebacker Jaquez Wilkes from Wadley, Alabama. He's a hybrid defender, 6'4", 220, plays at 1A Wadley, but he is wanted by big-time schools. Florida State, Miami, Texas A&M, Alabama, all in the mix. But Christian Clemente from Auburn Undercover, he is predicting that he will commit this afternoon to the Auburn Tigers. Auburn's currently 75th in recruiting, and the general feeling is once Wilkes commits, then that number obviously will be back in the 60s. For a brief time, they were in the high 60s. And then over the weekend, Texas and some other schools got some commitments, and some teams that were in front of Auburn kind of pushed them back a little bit. But this will be the 11th commitment for Auburn. So
Yeah.
plenty of move going up. Scotty Scheffler wins the British Open by 4 strokes yesterday. He's now won each of his first 4 majors by at least 4 strokes. That's never happened in major golf in the modern era. Also yesterday, I know you were excited because the New York Yankees took 2 out of 3 from the Atlanta Braves. Olsen and Acuna homered, but Judge homers. There's only one other ballpark now that Judge has not homered in. It was 2 until he hit the home run yesterday. You don't know this, Mr. New York Yankee.
I don't know. PNC. I'm just trying to think of places that we wouldn't play very frequently.
I bet you Mike Newton knows.
I'm sure he does. He was there in Atlanta this weekend. He was telling me,
texting you?
yeah, we were texting back and forth.
Brett Norsworthy was at the game Friday night.
I'm glad I was not at that game on Friday night. That was the bad one.
That was the stinker for y'all.
That was a good one for Atlanta fans.
Well, at least
no
you
doubt
didn't get
about it.
swept by the Diamondbacks like my Cardinals did.
Yeah,
So.
that's fair. Wait, so what's the do you know what the park is?
Of course I know the park. I wouldn't ask you the question if I didn't know the answer.
Okay. And?
Nationals Park.
Okay.
Two
That's a nice stadium.
Now you
I've
know.
been there.
2 National League stadiums.
Yeah. That's not a
Up until yesterday. Then he hits the home run at Truist Park. So the Nationals Park
okay.
is the only other stadium, current stadium, that Judge has not homered in.
Interesting. Okay. I did not know that. But yeah, good day yesterday.
I'm going to give
Saturday
you
was interesting.
I'm going to give you a trend moving forward. If you like to have a game of entertainment with your friends and family
Okay.
on Sundays, The Atlanta Braves have lost 9 straight Sunday games. 9.
That's a trend.
And if you look at your calendar, that's over 2 months worth of Sunday games they have lost.
That's bad.
They have played 16 Sunday games this year, and Atlanta is 3-13.
I was about to say, we're going back to what, Mother's Day, maybe the last Sunday that they would have won a game? Ooh.
So there's your trend. Now watch the trend in.
I was about to say, now it's going to end this
the
upcoming
Braves on
Sunday. Yeah.
Find something else to do on a Sunday if you're an Atlanta Braves fan. So now the Giants are in Atlanta for a 3-game series. That starts tonight. Hayden Birdsong, 4-3, a 4.11 ERA, goes up against Bryce Elder. Elder is 3-6 with an ERA close to 6. Braves are now 12.5 games back, 10.5 games back in the wild card, and we're just 10 days away from the Major League Baseball trade deadline. So what will the Braves do, not do? If you heard our interview with Barrett Sallee on Friday where I was peppering him with questions, he made it sound like that we are going to take the chairs on the Titanic and we're going to rearrange them and nothing bad's going to happen.
And as you pointed out, if you are somebody that's followed Major League Baseball for some time, somebody always pays a price. And I guess that really goes to all of professional sports, not just Major League Baseball. But anytime you underachieve, like the Braves certainly are this year, someone is going to have to pay for that. The good news is, though, is they made history on Saturday, Pat.
Yeah, give me the stat that I gave you that I already forgot.
Yeah, this is a fantastic stat that you sent me over the weekend, and our listener, Gavin, he sent it in on the Courtesy GMC text line a few minutes ago as well. So back to Saturday's game, which the Yankees ultimately won 12-9. So the Braves became the first team in Major League Baseball history to have their bullpen do all of the following: pitch 5 innings or less, allow 12 or more runs, walk 4 or more batters, allow 4 or more home runs, give up a grand slam, and lose the ball game. So essentially, all of the most disastrous things that could happen to a bullpen, the Braves bullpen managed to accomplish all of those. They were up, I believe it was the 5th inning, 7-2 in that game, and then they ended up losing.
At one time, it was 5-0.
Yeah,
right?
It was 5-0 early on, but yeah, they were up 7-2 in the 5th, ended up losing 12-9. So that's gonna be a tough pill to swallow. That's unfortunate for them.
I mean, I told you earlier this morning, and I've said this about the Braves. When I have watched the Braves, it just looks like they're kind of going through the motions, kind of a malaise that I saw 3 times this weekend in the desert for the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see this time of year.
Yeah.
They should be refreshed.
So, unlike Barrett Sallee and Landrum, I am completely open. Anybody on our roster, if somebody wants to give us some batting practice baseballs and they want to trade for a Cardinal, hey, go for it.
Yeah, it's
I'm good.
It's rough, and yeah, I guess the Yankees aren't probably going after Arenado anymore, so not gonna be able to help you out.
No, I think Suarez from the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, that seems to be
we helped his trade value this weekend.
Target. Yeah, thank you for driving up the price for Brian.
Yeah,
Cashman.
that's gonna cost you a little bit more to get Suarez.
That's right. It'll be should be interesting. There's a lot of, again, there's not that Juan Soto type trade or anything that anybody's expecting, but there's a lot of really good pieces.
Who's
out
the
there.
Tigers going after? Who's the number 1 person on their list?
I actually don't know.
They don't need anybody.
I'm about to say we're good.
I don't know. Now you've got the Brewers have the same record as the Cubs, and they're a game behind the Tigers, I believe, for the best record in baseball.
First team to 60.
Do you get a pennant for that? Do you hang something at the stadium?
No, it just makes me happy.
Oh. Okay.
You're playing good baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you play good baseball in October.
It's all that matters.
If you can throw Skubal out there, if he'll go old Madison Bumgarner this postseason, go out there 3 games every 7-game series, yeah, you're going to be unstoppable.
So tomorrow is Big Ten Media Days, and we have dueling Big Ten Media Days rankings and projections that are out this morning. So Cleveland.com, they're kind of the industry leader in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. They do this every year, but there's only 24 people that vote on it. They have come out and they have listed Penn State as the team to beat in the Big Ten, followed by Ohio State, Oregon.
Sorry, that's just really funny.
What's funny?
Penn State.
Do you not think they'll win the Big Ten this year?
No.
You don't?
No.
Who will win it?
Probably Ohio State or Oregon again. I
Okay.
don't know. Penn State, they're going to lose. They're bound to.
Okay. So Cleveland.com has Penn State, followed by Ohio State, Oregon, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska at 8,
There we go.
USC 9, Washington 10, and it goes on and on and on. Now, the other poll that came out this morning, Kings of the North, you've heard me mention that podcast before. These are run by guys that they do not hide their disdain for Southern football.
No, they do not.
This is an anti-SEC podcast. They promote the myth on a daily basis that the upper Midwest football is better than what we play down here in the Deep South. They have asked 54 members of the media, so that's different than the Cleveland.com that only does 24. They asked 54 members of the media who cover the Big Ten and the national college football realm to rank teams 1 through 18. And the poll has been released. So just like Cleveland.com, they have Penn State winning the Big Ten. So despite what Molly thinks is going to happen in the Big Ten, you've got 2 polls that came out that says that Penn State will win the Big Ten championship, followed in by Ohio State, Oregon, and Illinois. So their top 4 are the exact same. Matter of fact, their top 5, their top 6 is the same. Now, here's the difference. So the Kings of the North podcast, they have USC coming in at number 7, whereas Cleveland.com has Iowa.
Wow, who would have thought USC and Iowa football interchangeable, right?
But both of the polls that came out this morning has Molly's Nebraska Cornhuskers 8th.
Okay.
If we finish 8th, I'll be happy.
I was about to say that's, what, 7-8 wins?
Well, I was
Yeah.
going to ask, last year in the Big Ten, if you finished 8th, what record would that equate to? Because we were talking about the
let's
SEC
see.
last year. Tennessee finished with 10 wins. That was good for third best.
So 8. Okay, so last year Minnesota was 8th, and they went 8-5, 5-4 in Big Ten play.
Okay.
I would be happy with 8 wins.
Yeah, that's solid.
So both the Cleveland.com poll, based on 24 voters, and the Kings of the North that had 54 voters, they have basically the top 5 teams exactly the same. A little bit of difference between 6 and 7, but they both have Nebraska coming in at number 8. So based on last year, that would have them slotted with an 8-5 record, right?
And Molly just said that she would
take
be
that.
very happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, according to the Kings of the North, Jeremiah Smith is the Offensive Player of the Year.
Nah, I mean, come on, that's an easy one.
I mean, he's going to win the Heisman
He's the
Trophy.
best football player ever.
Drew Aller came in at number 2. Defensive Player of the Year, Caleb Downs,
Yeah, that's
former Alabama DB,
mm-hmm.
now at Ohio State. He was hands down the number 1 player defensively speaking. So of those lists, now Molly gave her, obviously, opinion on Penn State. How about you? Are you going all in on Franklin?
No, I can't.
They're going to lose a game.
They're
going to lose at least 1 or 2.
I feel
There's no
very,
way.
very confident in 2 things with Penn State. 1, they're not going to win the Big Ten, but 2, they're going to make the college football playoff. I
Yes.
mean, their schedule and the way that it works out for them, Ohio State is the one bump in the road that they just absolutely cannot get over. And to think that they would have to potentially beat them, twice
Mhm.
to win the Big Ten championship, I don't see that happening. I find it hard to believe that you're not going to roll with Ohio State
Right.
again. I get that Julian Sayin is an unknown commodity, and we don't really know what he's going to turn out to be, but he was a very special talent coming out of high school, and I think that, when you're throwing to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and guys like that, you don't have to be
Right.
that amazing. And so if he does turn out to be pretty good, then they're going to be really, really dangerous. So interesting that they have, I guess, according to the media, the 2 best players in the conference, but they are not picked to win the conference.
The Cleveland.com poll, they will actually give you how many first place votes the team's got,
Okay.
just like the SEC
Yeah.
media poll.
So is it close?
It was very close.
Okay.
Penn State had 11. Ohio State had 10.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Oregon had 2, and there was one person in the media that had Michigan winning the Big Ten.
Oh, okay.
But there were no
Does Jim
votes.
Harbaugh get to vote in that?
Well, I was going to
still?
ask if Connor Stallions somehow got his vote in.
That's a good question.
Illinois did not get a vote.
I guess Bert doesn't get to vote.
No.
That's a shame. He's not going to like that.
No, he's not.
That's bulletin board material right there,
That
Pat.
is.
Cleveland.com didn't have any first place votes for us in the Big Ten, boys.
He must not recruit Cleveland very well.
I guess. Does anybody? I don't know. Maybe there's.
Yeah,
maybe there's a lot of talent around Cleveland. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a hotbed of talent in the
I don't think there is.
the Cleveland metropolitan area. Not really sure.
Interesting.
One thing is for sure is that Abide Roofing, they can help you out right now by simply calling 205-922-7134 or go to their website, abideroof.com. They're going to give you solid advice. They're going to give you that free roof inspection, and they're going to come down off your roof, and they're going to tell you exactly what's going on, and they're going to give you an honest assessment of if you've got issues, what they can do to fix that issue or replace your whole roof. That's what happened with me. I had some issues. I had some leaking going on in my attic and in my keeping room right next to my kitchen. And so I needed to call Abide Roofing, and I did. I called Travis Lloyd. He was over at my house. He dealt with my insurance company, and everything was taken care of. 205-922-7134. 25 plus years of trusted experience with decades of combined industry knowledge. Abide Roofing brings expertise and confidence to every project, and the communication is flawless. Like, I knew what was going on every single moment, and when the crew showed up, his crew was outstanding. This is a local crew. This is a local company, and they're able to help you immediately by just simply calling them at 205-922-7134. If you want more information about Travis Lloyd and his outstanding local roofing team, just go to their website, abideroof.com. More of your text messages, phone calls. Skip Holtz at the top of the hour, a very busy Monday, Reaction Monday on Jox. 1-800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450 on the Courtesy GMC text line. We were talking to Chris a little bit earlier in the program and his phone cut out. So let's go back to the hotline and talk to Chris here on Three Man Front. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, guys. The two things I had to finish off on, other than addressing Conrad and his shamelessness, was I wanted to employ the Bama fan base and say, pretty much, because I know Pat was pretty much stirring the pot there, even bringing up Matt Moscona's comments.
I wouldn't do that,
No.
Chris. What are you talking about?
Yeah, sure. Here's the thing. Yes, I know what engagement bait is, because that's all he does, Matt Moscona. All he does is engagement bait. And don't bite into the lure, because hear me out when I say this. All he really speaks in is just Japanese. I'm surprised when he talks on the air. You don't have the episode of
Wait,
the
what did you say? He speaks
with
Japanese? Is that what you said?
Japanese.
I never heard that
Japanese.
one. Never heard
He
that
come
one.
with subtitles.
Making sure. Okay.
He should come with subtitles at some point, because honest to God, it's almost like let's say episode of the Peanuts Gang, and when the adults talking about one for one, every now and then sprinkling the LSU praise. Listen, here's the case. If you want to really just become bad at it when it comes to Matt Moscona, just ask him one simple question: when is LSU won an opening season game? That's one. And other than that, until he can answer that question, ignore him. Last but not least, the thing I wanted to address was last year I made 2 bowl predictions, obviously for Vanderbilt and Kentucky. One of them panned out, one of them went wayward, and I'm here to just make my 2 bowl predictions now. Put this on the record for me again, like I did last year, Pat, if you can.
Yeah, we're gonna spray paint it on the studio walls. Go ahead.
I picked to be an upset team, but not a very winning bowl game. Not a bowl caliber team would be Mississippi State Bulldogs.
To be a bowl team?
To be an upset trap game team.
Oh, so you think
Not
they're
a
going to
very
pull
ball
off?
game
They're going to
winning
beat.
team.
They're going to pull
I see
off a
what you're
big
saying.
upset this year.
I thought you were predicting that Mississippi State was going to make a bowl game.
Yeah, to be pretty much like I predicted Kentucky to be last year. Pretty much a team that's good for upset.
Okay, gotcha.
Now this year I picked to be on I picked Vanderbilt last year. I picked Pig Arkansas to have a Vanderbilt run this year.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Well, let me tell you, Chris. I know that Conrad likes to ridicule you at times. So does Damien.
Oh, does he?
Well, just in the office.
I don't think he can after Soho. So.
But no, all kidding aside, I like the Arkansas. I like your feeling on Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
I think Arkansas has talent, and based on some other people outside of those that cover Arkansas, I got the general feeling that would be a potential team that could mess up a lot of different teams in the SEC schedule this year. I think Arkansas might be a little bit better than people are giving them credit for.
People are, once again, I say like Vanderbilt, people are sleeping on them. It's like this stuff on Vanderbilt. I told them, buy into them because they're at the point of being a team. The most fearful team is a team that pretty much just playing and pretty much nothing to lose. And expectations are pretty much full stank.
That's a good point. Hey, let me ask you.
And there is that prefaces.
Let me ask you before you go. You said Mississippi State is your big upset team. So they played Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Florida. If you had to pick, which one of those is going to be the upset for Mississippi State?
I think we lost Chris.
And we lost Chris again.
Okay. Appreciate it, Chris.
Okay, so 2 bowl predictions. So Mississippi State's going to have a big upset, and Arkansas is going to be
the last year's Vanderbilt.
This year's Vanderbilt, yes. Okay. If that's the case with Arkansas, you think that's enough to save Sam Pittman's job?
6-6?
We'll say 6-6 with a bowl win to go to 7.
Yeah.
That's what they did last year.
I think so. Because, Arkansas has to ask themselves, like, what are the alternatives?
It's fair. I think a lot of people would, we brought it up before, but you would go look at maybe an offensive coordinator at Florida State, depending on that season. Do you think that's something that would still be entertained there in Fayetteville?
I know there are still people in the state of Arkansas that are very fond of Gus Malzahn. So whether Gus Malzahn would want to go home to Arkansas and get that opportunity to be the head coach And if it would be reciprocal or not, not really sure, but
Does that move the needle for you, over Sam Pittman, right? Does that, take you where you go, wow, all right, I'm really interested in what Arkansas is going to do now with Gus Malzahn as a head coach? It'd be interesting.
and I should have asked Ty. I do not know what, and maybe you can find it. I do not know what Sam Pittman's buyout is. I don't know how much you would have to pay him and his staff to completely bring somebody else in.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so he's the one that has the stipulation that because he's under 500 right now, and so it lowers his buyout because his all-time record at Arkansas is under 500. Yes, so if he is fired without cause and his overall record is below 500 at the time of his firing, his buyout is decreased by 50%. And if the record stays at 500 or better, the buyout is 75% of his remaining compensation, which is, when was this article written? As of last fall was $5 million. Oh, okay. So $5 million.
It's affordable.
That is doable.
Yeah.
And if he stays under 500, then that becomes what, $2.5 million?
Because you have a situation at LSU with Brian Kelly, it's in the 50 millions, and you've got Kalen DeBoer, I think his is at 60 million. But Sam Pittman, taking it to the lake.
I was about to say, yep, taking it to the lake. And I was about to say, I think the Tyson family would find a way to make something like that happen, probably.
Yeah, probably so. 1-800-239-WJOX. That is the phone number. The Courtesy GMC text line is 205-834-9450. Odds to make the college football playoff have just been updated by Circus Sports. Texas still has the best odds of making the college football playoff at minus 350. Georgia is at number 2 at minus 265. Alabama comes in with the third best odds to make the college football playoff at minus 180. So only 3 SEC teams have minus whatever in front of their odds.
Don't show that to Matt Moscona.
No, because LSU is next at plus 130 to make the college football playoff. Ole Miss comes in next at plus 180. Texas A&M plus 210. Auburn comes in with the next best odds. Them in Tennessee at plus 300. Florida at plus 350. Oklahoma plus 445. South Carolina plus 550. And Mizzou plus 825. Those are the only SEC teams listed to potentially make the college football playoff.
That is fascinating about South Carolina because, again, it's not Bond, but going back to what we were talking about with the media poll, and that was the team that essentially the consensus agreed was right after LSU. That was, and we all agree in the top 4, but they were kind of the first team in that second tier of playoff contenders in the SEC, and they're all the way down there.
11th best odds to make the college football playoff. I'm not saying to win the college football playoff.
Just to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get in. They have the 11th best odds to make the college football playoff.
That is an interesting
And you could make some money if you put some money down plus 550.
Oh, if I was a diehard South Carolina fan, I'd probably be.
I would be too.
Be dabbling in that.
I'll tell you what, that plus 130 for LSU is looking really good to me.
That is certainly attractive. Are you surprised that Ole Miss is the next team after the top 4?
I am, because I thought Texas A&M would have better odds than Ole Miss.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Just because of schedule?
Yeah, returning quarterback.
Yeah.
But Auburn and Tennessee plus 300. So Tennessee and Auburn the same odds.
If I was sprinkling something on that right now, and between those two at those odds, I would be going Auburn over Tennessee with that value.
So Auburn has better odds to make the college football playoff than Florida, Oklahoma, or South Carolina.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Weird stuff. More of your calls, your texts. This is 3-Man Front on this Reaction Monday. 1-800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450. That is the number to the Courtesy GMC text line. So earlier this morning, we were talking about the SEC Media Days poll that came out on Friday. Had Texas number 1, Georgia 2, Alabama 3, LSU was 4. Also, we voted on the first, second, and third team all SEC. Well, our friend down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Matt Moscona from ESPN Radio, he had some interesting takes on the SEC Media Days poll, including LSU being ranked 4th. And he admitted that he did not vote in this year's media poll. Matter of fact, 1,200 media members, they had the opportunity to vote, but only 204 actually voted. I'm happy to report that everybody that I'm aware of on this radio station that had an opportunity to vote, voted.
We did.
But apparently those at ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge, for whatever reason, scheduling or forgot, whatever the case may be,
they were busy.
They did not participate in the exercise. Well, he also had some interesting things to say about Lenora Sellers being the first team all-SEC quarterback instead of Garrett Nussmeier. But we're going to concentrate on what he said about why the Georgia Bulldogs being at number 2 and why Alabama being at number 3, kind of an odd choice in his opinion, being ranked ahead of LSU.
Are we just assuming Georgia's going to be awesome? I'm not. By the way, 54% of their roster first or second year players. They're super young. Alabama. Oh, I'm sorry. Have I not been the guy sitting here since the day Nick Saban retired telling you it's never going to be the same there? They're not going to bottom out. I'm not telling you they're going 6-6, but they're a perennial 9-3 football team. That's what Alabama's going to be. I'm supposed to just buy Ty Simpson being great? Ryan Grubb's going to come in and save the day? I mean, isn't Kalen DeBose supposed to be the offensive guru, the guy who, like, he can't function if he doesn't have Ryan Grubb? Get lost. Kick rocks. Kane Womack, the guy who gave up 40 to Vanderbilt, boom, he's just going to figure it out this year and Bama's going to be awesome? No. They're going to lose 3 games. They're going to be a 3-loss team.
There you go. That was Matt Moscona. So we've been taking a lot of texts and calls about that opinion in regards to them being a perennial now 9-3 football team.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, again, we get it. This is what Matt Moscona does. He, for whatever reason, has had a bone to pick with Alabama ever since Nick Saban retired, and I'm sure it started even before that, and he's probably upset because, you know, Bama dominated LSU again last year, and he probably didn't see that coming with Kalen DeBoer and Kane Womack and this new, you know, coaching staff that he doesn't have any confidence in. I guess my thing too for him would be, you know, don't you have a lot of the same questions about LSU? Why should we just assume, okay, you spent gobs of money in the transfer portal. Should we just assume that all of those pieces are going to fit magically and your defense is going to be significantly better? Because we've seen what the ceiling is for this LSU team with one of the best offenses in the modern college football era. And we saw that a couple years ago with Jaden Daniels, who was fantastic en route to winning a Heisman Trophy, and you still couldn't win more than 9 football games. So why should I expect that you're going to be significantly better this year when I don't think Garrett Nussmeier is as good as Jaden Daniels? I don't think he's as good as Joe Burrow was. But yet we're just supposed to expect that they're going to be better than Alabama and Georgia because they have a quarterback that's returning and the other two don't. I mean, I can't really find another argument outside of that, and that's a fair argument, but
you're putting a lot of faith in 18 new faces on that roster.
Yeah.
To mesh together and to put yourself in a position to perhaps win the SEC, go to the college football playoff, make a deep run, maybe even win the national championship. And I've said this before. I think the top 4 teams that the media voted for in the SEC, I think they're all interchangeable.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas lost, 4 offensive linemen that they're trying to replace? You just heard Georgia, what Matt had to say about them. I don't disagree with that. I disagree with what he said about Alabama, by the way. Alabama's defense is going to be one of the best in the conference.
Yeah. Now, if you have concerns about Ty Simpson in the offense, fair.
That's absolutely
fair.
That is 100% accurate. And LSU. So, I mean, to me, Texas, Georgia, I would not have been surprised if I'd opened up the email because we could sense in Atlanta. Now, listen, I've been down this road with LSU before. A couple of years ago in Nashville, every single person, this is the year.
Yep.
LSU. LSU is going to beat Alabama. It's LSU. LSU. That's all you heard. And LSU was nowhere to be found at the end of the season. But you could sense with other members of the media last week, LSU, J.D. Pickell, Matt Moscona, a lot of those guys is saying that LSU's the team to beat in the SEC. And you know what? At the end of the year, they very well may be right. But same could be said about Alabama, Georgia, or Texas, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I'll be 100% honest. I expect LSU to be in the college football playoff this year.
I do too.
I also expect Alabama to be in the college football playoff this year. I think both of those programs are set up really nicely this year to make a run back and to return to the college football playoff for the first time in 2 years for Alabama and the first time in 5 years for LSU. So I think both of those things can be the same. But again, to insinuate that, you just can't fathom how Georgia, who has been the pinnacle of college football now for the last 4 or 5 years and just won the SEC last year, you can't fathom how they would be ahead of you. And then Alabama, a team that you're going to have to go to Bryant-Denny and play this year, and you don't have a very good recent history against that program, that you just can't fathom that they would be ahead of you. It's on brand, but it is what it is.
All right, let's go to the phones. Rick wants to talk a little bit about Alabama football. Hey, Rick, how are you?
Hey, guys, love the show as usual, man. Got a question.
Sure.
Moscona said, give up the fact that Alabama gave up 40 points to Vandy. And Pat May, you just made the comment that you think Alabama has one of the best defenses in the SEC, if not the best. I am an Alabama fan, but that's probably my biggest concern is the inconsistency in the defense from last season. How do you see Womack going in and fixing that? And what makes you think that Alabama has the best defense? Because I think Womack's a decent coordinator. I just don't think he's that coordinator that can get you where you were at with Kirby or Pruitt or those guys. I just don't see that.
Well, okay, in my opinion, the key is going to be the defensive front. That's an area that has the most concern from people around that program because there's not a lot of depth, but they've got a lot of young bucks that could step in and be those guys once fall gets in. Your secondary was extremely young last year, and you're giving them an opportunity to kind of grow up last year. Now, you obviously you lost a big one in Malachi Moore. That's a huge loss. But with everybody coming back, whether it's Saab, Damani Jackson, Brown, all those guys in the secondary, they played a lot of ball last year. And so that is going to come.
I think Saab makes a big difference. I think where Alabama was hurting the secondary was when Downs left. That's a huge, gigantic loss. But, man, it's just, I don't know, the inconsistency last year where we can hold Georgia and we can do what we do there and things look good in one game, and then 2 games down the road we look like you can't cover anything against Vandy. I don't know. It's just concerning.
Yeah. Well, listen, to me, that is the strength of this football team this year is going to be the defense. Now, I'm not proclaiming it to be the 1992 defense with Curry and Copeland and Antonio Langham. I'm not saying that at all. But I think what you're looking at, they finished 6th in the SEC last year in total defense. The month of October was a nightmare, defensively speaking. But towards the back end the back end of the season, especially what they did against Garrett Nussmeier and a very potent LSU offense, I think Kane Womack is an outstanding coordinator, and I think that the familiarity with his personnel and what they have coming back is going to pay dividends for this Alabama defense this year. So I think they will be. I predict that they will be a top 3, top 4 defense, and if they're not, Rick, then they got problems.
I think Matt made a pretty stupid comment about Grubb coming in and not being able to fit.
Thank you for the call, Rick. Sorry your cell phone cut out there, but listen, I said it on the Paul Feinbaum show when I was on his program last week at SEC Media Days, that first off, if Alabama does not get to the college football playoff, we're having a whole completely different conversation next year at this time.
Yes.
About Kalen DeBoer. And everywhere that Ryan Grubb has been the offensive coordinator for Kalen DeBoer, they have been extremely successful offensively. So I am pushing the chips to the center of the table with Ryan Grubb and having this offense be the type of offense that you anticipated last year with obviously another person running the offense, that being Sheridan.
Well, and that was part of the comments that Moscona made, right? Of, well, I thought Kalen DeBoer was supposed to be, sorry, Kalen DeBose, as he would say, was supposed to be this offensive mastermind, and you're telling me that this Ryan Grubb guy has to come in and save the day? And okay, if you want to have that opinion that, maybe Kalen DeBoer wasn't what you thought he was going to be, or the offense wasn't what you thought it would be without Ryan Grubb last year, okay, that's fair. I think that's a fair opinion to have. But to now discredit it when Ryan Grubb is coming back to Alabama, and as you brought up, Pat, we've seen the track record of success that DeBoer and Grubb have had together. That's where it's okay. So you're going to criticize the coach, that's fine, but then you need to give credit to what potential you're going to get this year with Ryan Grubb coming back. And we've talked about it a lot, but I think that the further we've gotten away from it, and wow, we're in the middle of talking season now, and we're all anxious to see what these teams look like on the field. I think Ryan Grubb coming to Alabama is probably the most important thing that happened to that program this offseason, and I think some people maybe forgot how good of an offensive coordinator he was. I mean, remember, this is a guy that Nick Saban tried to hire 3 years ago instead of Tommy Rees, and he said, no, I'm staying in Washington.
Yeah. He was very well respected. Nick Saban did everything in his power to try to get him to Tuscaloosa, and it just did not happen. One thing that can happen today is for you to take exit 32 off of I-459, and all you got to do is get off of the interstate right there, and you're going to see the Courtesy GMC sign, because if you're in the market for a brand new GMC, there is no better place in the Southeast than Courtesy GMC. How about saving up to $16,000 off Sierra 1500s, or you can get 0% APR financing while it lasts. You can take $10,000 off the heavy-duty Sierra 2500, or you can drive off with a Yukon Denali up to $5,000 off in savings. And every new vehicle there at Courtesy comes with the Courtesy 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. It's very important if you're in the market for a brand new GMC. Don't forget about their pre-owned vehicles. You got a wonderful selection of vehicles, about 30 of them ready to move right now. They've got 9 acres of inventory in both brand new and pre-owned. Go by and see the wonderful people there at Courtesy GMC. I've bought multiple vehicles there. Everyone in my family, I've got friends. They ask me about the Courtesy GMC and what they can do for them. They have gone and they've had a wonderful experience. Get your car service there. Buy new tires. That's where I bought my wife's tires about a month ago. They can handle it all for you at Courtesy GMC. Go to their website, courtesybirmingham.com. More of your calls, your text reaction Monday on 3-Man Front. At the top of the hour, we will talk to Skip Holtz, who is the head football coach of the Birmingham Stallions of the UFL. They got a free youth football clinic coming up on Wednesday at Legion Field, so we'll talk to him about that and also the future of the UFL, the Birmingham franchise. What else is he hearing on that front? 12:30, Peter Rauterkus, who covers the Auburn Tigers for AL.com, he will be on the program. We'll get the very latest on what's going on with Malcolm Simmons. It's kind of quiet over the weekend in regards to any type of news coming out of that situation. So we will see if Peter has an update on that. There was some very sad news over the weekend. Ole Miss freshman football player Corey Adams was killed Saturday night in a shooting in Tennessee. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office said Adams, 18, died at the scene in Cordova, Tennessee, just outside of Memphis. 4 other men were shot outside a residence and taken to an area hospital. None are listed in critical condition. Adams was a defensive lineman from New Orleans who enrolled at Ole Miss this winter. He twice earned All-State honors at Edna Karr High School. So just terrible news coming out of Ole Miss as Ole Miss freshman football player Corey Adams was killed Saturday night.
It's when someone's so young and obviously had a very bright future ahead of him as well. It's a shame that his not only his career but his entire life is cut short and doesn't have an opportunity to fulfill some of those dreams that he certainly had. So yeah, that's very sad news for the Oxford family and his family and everyone involved with the Rebels.
Yeah, so no other news in regards to what exactly took place there has come to light as of yet. Earlier this morning, the American Athletic Conference, they are no more. They are done. What do I mean by that? No, they're still around. UAB's conference is not going anywhere. They've just changed their name. It's just the American Conference. No more American Athletic Conference, or AAC. I saw this coming. I do the pre-halftime and post-game for UAB's athletic department for football and basketball. And it was probably at the beginning of the year, I got a note telling me to refer to all American Athletic Conference games as I was doing scoreboards.
It's just American Conference?
It's just American Conference.
I feel like I've always called it just the American.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people have done that, but now they have completely made it official, and they've also got a new mascot.
I did, yeah. I saw
love
that.
the mascot.
You love the mascot?
Eagle, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Soar, the eagle.
I like it.
I like it, yeah. It's a fun little design.
It is.
I just like now that I don't have to get my words jumbled up between AAC and ACC, because that was always the tricky one.
No, that's why most people, I think, always called it just the American.
Yeah. So now it's just AC, so that opens up some great advertising opportunities for them.
Very much
With
so.
Train,
Absolutely.
perhaps.
Yes, very much so. They will officially be known as the American Conference, or just the American on second reference. And if you haven't seen their the mascot, an eagle, a cartoon eagle, that's part of their new rebranding.
Trying to, I don't know. I guess it just rolls off the tongue a little bit easier. The American Conference.
And like Molly said, I think a lot of people just called it the American anyway.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, I think you're right on that. So yeah, I mean, good for them.
The Braves are back in action tonight against the Giants, and you were just telling me that the Braves actually made a roster move just a couple minutes ago.
Yes, and this is an interesting one because if you were listening earlier, we've talked a lot about the trade deadline and what that could mean for Atlanta, and Sean Murphy being a name that we brought up as potentially being on the move. And so now, earlier today, the Braves selected catcher Sandy Leon to the Major League roster, and they DFA'd Stuart Fairchild. So that makes you wonder if bringing up what would be a third catcher is perhaps the second catcher, as Sean Murphy will be involved in some sort of a deal, maybe in the next
That's interesting.
day or so that might be announced.
And Sean Murphy has caught fire offensively. I mean, you could play him at DH, obviously, and not catch him much anymore.
But then what are you going to do with Azuna?
This could be a precursor of some moves the Braves are looking at. We're 10 days away from the trade deadline, so we'll see what happens. Coming up next on Three Man Front on this Reaction Monday, we will talk to Skip Holtz, the football coach, head football coach of the Birmingham Stallions. Also later on, Peter Raderkus, who covers the Auburn Tigers, will be a guest on this program. So much to get into. We're halfway home on this Monday. It is 12 noon. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front on Jox. Appreciate you tuning us in on this hot, steamy Monday. You know, high school football in the state of Alabama begins 4 Fridays from this upcoming Friday.
It's pretty wild. We're all going to be very busy on our Friday afternoons.
Yes, we are. You doing Mountain Brook, myself, Hewitt Trustful, Landrum doing Spain Park, Molly doing Hewitt Trustful along with me.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be here before you know it.
Can't wait.
Yep. So a lot to talk about with Coach Skip Holtz. He's going to be joining the program in just a moment, the head football coach of the Birmingham Stallions. Auburn football should be getting some good news later this afternoon. Four-star linebacker Jaquez Wilkes from Wadley, Alabama, is expected to commit to the Auburn Tigers. That coming up around 4 o'clock this afternoon. He is 6'4", 220-pound defender from Wadley High School. Auburn currently is 75th nationally in recruiting, but they only have 10 commitments. So this would be a big one. And I just saw a few moments ago that a 5-star safety has put Auburn as one of his final 4 teams, and he is supposed to commit in August, on August the 21st. So this could be the beginning of a nice string for Auburn recruiting. Joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline, one of our favorite guests that we love to talk to all times of the year, especially in the spring when the UFL season is in full-blown going on, and that is Skip Holtz, who is the head football coach of the Birmingham Stallions. Coach, I hope the summer is treating you well. How you been?
Gentlemen, it's been great. You know, at this point, the month of it, you know, it's been great. It's been good to kind of get your feet back underneath you and recharge your batteries and spend some quality family time. I mean, I've got 2 of my children are in sports, so their vacation time falls ideally in July. So it worked out great. We've had an opportunity to spend some quality time together. But now, just like as y'all are talking about with recruits starting to commit, everybody's starting to get geared up for the fall, so everybody's back to work.
All right, so before we talk about the season that was and what you're doing now to prepare yourself and the organization for next season, a very special event is going to take place this Wednesday at Legion Field as the Stallions are hosting this free youth football clinic. It's going to take place between 2 and 4 o'clock. Football skills clinic will follow between 5 and 7. What's really cool about this is that I was reading where you've got a flag football clinic for grades 5 through 12 and a football skills clinic for grades 7 through 12. So that is very interesting how the flag football has picked up momentum, and you guys are kind of tapping into that with this free clinic.
Well, especially in the summers, because you have an opportunity without putting on pads, having people become part of the skills camp in the afternoon is going to be a lot of fundamental work. I'm going to be there. I know some of the UFL staff is going to be there. I know there's going to be UFL players that are going to be there, not just from the Stallions, but from other teams as well. And I think the afternoon or the 5 to 7 is going to be much more skill specific to help individuals as they continue to grow to enjoy the game individually. The 5 to 7 is all about the team concept, the fun of the game, being part of a team. I think both of them are going to be great, but I'm really excited to be there and have the opportunity to be part of it. And like you said, it's an opportunity for us to give back to Birmingham because it's a free camper clinic. So if you have a child in the 5th to the 12th grade, sign them up. It's a free clinic. It's going to be a fun time. We'll have a good event. I know everybody's going to get a T-shirt along with it. So it ought to be a great day.
Well, you know, it's interesting, Coach, because one thing that you have been very outspoken about, especially when the leagues kicked off, and I'm talking about the original, obviously, USFL, and then, of course, the combination now of the UFL, is just the community involvement. And this is a UFL initiative in which they're trying to grow the game and support young athletes across all the local markets. And I know that's big, especially here in Birmingham, as you try to get those grassroots effort to get the young people not only involved in football, but also their parents to be involved as being Birmingham Stallions fans as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be great to have everybody there. And we keep saying this, it's a free clinic. And I think that speaks volumes of what both the Stallions and the UFL is trying to do as far as getting into these markets and giving back. It's not a moneymaker. We're not charging people. We're not trying to break even. Obviously, I mean, the UFL has will put money into this. I mean, obviously to get everybody there, the T-shirts, the organization, the facility, but it's a free camp because we want to give back to the community. And that's why I think so many of the players are excited about coming back. That's why I'm excited about coming back. I really enjoyed the first 2 years of the USFL when we were located in the Birmingham market, and we had an opportunity to be very involved on a day-to-day basis. One of the things that is frustrating for all of us is being in Dallas, we're only in that market for our 5-6 home games, but having the opportunity to get so involved in the community, even during those 5 games where we would come in on Friday at 3:00 and then go do players and coaches and go do community service events on Friday, the day before a game. And so this is one more opportunity for us to be able to give back, a fun event, something that I think everybody's going to take away from. One, just to come and enjoy a day of football and being out on the field and playing the team game. And the other part of it, just being able to interact and grow and develop in this game, because by learning the individual fundamentals, it's going to help people. It's going to make it a safer game, and it's also going to give people an opportunity to enjoy it more.
So, Coach, I know you mentioned that there will be a number of players involved. I was just curious if you knew, or if it maybe is kind of a last-minute type of situation with the Stallions players that will be in attendance at the camp, if there will be some, because I know, you're talking about community outreach and how y'all would like to do more events. And I have to imagine this would be really special opportunity for, the younger kids, right, to be able to have that connection with the Stallions player to where they're watching in the spring and going, hey, that's my favorite player on the Stallions because of, the work that he did with me at this camp in the summer. And it just, again, it's going to further help foster those friendships, those relationships with the youth here in the city of Birmingham.
Yeah, I know a number of people are confirmed or confirmed early. I don't know who went on and who went off of that. I know I was told this morning that, that Jamar Smith will be part of that, that he will be there. But other than that, I think we'll find out. But I know Jamar will be there for sure. Jamar will be there for sure. And then, like I said, some other players. And I know Jamar lives in the area, but I don't know. I haven't been involved in every player that's going to be there.
Coach Skip Holtz joins us here on the Higginbotham Hotline here on Three Man Front. You hear Coach Holtz weekly on this radio program throughout the UFL season. So kind of pull the curtain back, Coach, in regards to, you were talking about how obviously this season is in the rearview mirror now. How much time nowadays does it take you to put that fully in the perspective that it was, and then able to decompress a little bit before you start getting out the film and the notebook, and you start jotting down things that need to be done for this upcoming season?
Yeah, well, I mean, I won't say unfortunately, but that has already started. People,
right.
Somebody once asked me, they said, what do you do? And I said, I'm a football coach. And they said, well, what do you do the rest of the year? There's a few things that go into putting this together and building a roster. We are in the process right now of going through with all the present players on our team. I think the UFL has done a great job by segmenting the off season so it doesn't all happen at once. But really, July and August is all about re-signing your current team whose contracts have expired. September is going to be about the college draft. And when we get into October, November, December, it's going to be about the free agency process. So there's been a lot of work that's gone into it already, just as far as starting to put the 2026 football team together. How long does it take to process it? Well, I think we've built a standard. When you win 3, I mean, those are the expectations. And you talk to people, since we've left the season, and people say, God, what happened this year? We lost a game. I hate that. I don't want to, but we lost a game in the playoffs. Did not play one of our better games, and lost to Michigan. And as we talked a lot about after that game, kudos to them for what they were able to do. But I also look at all the adversity that we had playing the 5 different quarterbacks, the lack of stability on the offensive line, and it's all something that's gone into evaluating our football team as we get ready for next season and those players that we're going to re-sign and trying to put our rosters together. So, you want to get some rest. You want to get your feet up underneath you a little bit because you're really tired at the end of a long season. But it also gives you some time to reflect and look back and go, you know what, maybe we should have done this. Maybe we could have done more of this. And right now I'm in the process of going through. I'll pick a day and I'll pick a game and watch it on offense, defense, special teams, and then write all my notes down. And I'm going to go through the whole season here by the time we get through July and August, so we can just look at what we need to do to get better. So even though we only play in the spring, it is a 12-month process in order to get ready, not only to compete in this season, but to get ready for the 2026 season.
So, Coach, I know obviously you want to win every single game that you coach, and the players want to win every single game that they play in. But with the success that you have had here in Birmingham and winning a championship those first 3 years, and then this year coming up a little bit short of the postseason, does it almost make your job as a coach? Do you think it will make it a little bit easier in the sense of now the message to the guys maybe before was, hey, if you don't handle your business, we can go out there and we can be beaten any given weekend because of the quality of teams in this league. But you had won 3 straight championships. So it is a little bit of that, like, well, we're not really used to losing, but now that you did have a season where you didn't achieve your ultimate goal, does it almost make it easier maybe to motivate or to coach these guys and have them take those lessons to heart?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that it was a team of entitlement, because I felt what this team was able to accomplish playing 5 quarterbacks. We didn't have 8 healthy offensive linemen from week 2 to week 9. Going through the middle of the season, we had so many guys that missed games. We talked during the season. It was like every week it was like 50 first dates. You start all over again. You go to work and you never felt like you could take that next step. You never really got to get to week 3 and week 4 and week 5, because, we had one quarterback played 1 game, then we had one play 3, then we had one play 3, then we had one play 1, then we had one play. You never really got to the development side of the season. And that was the frustrating part for me. But I do think that it'll create a little bit more hunger. Walking in, I know that team was very disappointed. Like I said, I hated it. Was probably one of the worst games. Well, it was the worst game we played on defense, without a doubt. And we had lost some key pieces and some secondary, and maybe didn't realize how much of a glue they were as far as keeping everybody together and making sure everybody was playing within the system. Because when it started to spiral downward, a lot of guys started doing their own thing. And that was very uncharacteristic of us as a team. But it was a great learning lesson for us. I think it'll definitely be a great teaching lesson going forward. And I think in the long run, yes, it's got a chance to help us.
Coach, the last time we spoke, I asked you a question about the Birmingham franchise, because there were some rumors, there were some reports by certain podcasters around the UFL saying that Birmingham was in trouble of losing its UFL franchise and it moving to another city. I just want to revisit that question. Everything you have heard, Coach, back in Birmingham next year, business as usual?
Yes, sir. Everything has been. There has not been anything to let me know that it's on shaky ground. I was told when I asked the question, because I hear the rumors just like everybody else, and I just went to the horse's mouth and was told absolutely not. They're not. Birmingham's not going anywhere. That's what I was told, and I feel comfortable with it, and we're moving forward and business as usual. I think when you look at it, there have been some criticism, maybe the way some of the markets have drawn, and potentially looking to reestablish those maybe in new markets. But from everything I've heard, Birmingham is not in that conversation. But I would also say, to make sure that we're never in it in the future, let's continue to grow attendance. Let's continue to grow it and put people in that stadium, because that's the excitement and the energy, and it's the more the merrier. The more that are there, the more good time everybody's going to have. And I think as these players have built a product on the field that deserves to be one of the most heavily attended programs in the league. And so that's the thing that I would like to just see it continue to grow. The people in Birmingham have been awesome. Love it there. I loved having the opportunity to live there for 2 years. But like I said, unfortunately now we're only there on the weekends, and I just want to see it continue to grow, because the Birmingham name, the Birmingham Stallion name, is, I mean, it's synonymous with spring football. When you look at all the different leagues going all the way back to the 80s have had the Birmingham Stallions. And right now, for us to be able to have the success, and, you know, there's been 4 seasons that we've played, 2 in the UFL and 2 in the USFL. And the Birmingham Stallions are the only team that have been in all 4 playoffs. And so I think, you know, we've created a product on the field. I just want to see it continue to grow. But I am looking forward to being back in Birmingham in the 2026 season.
Well, you're always honest with us, and that is as honest as it gets in regards to the future of this franchise here in Birmingham. Coach Skip Holtz will be in town along with other Stallions and other UFL members. A free football clinic will take place at Legion Field this Wednesday. You need to go to footballcamps.theufl.com. That website again, footballcamps.theufl.com. And Coach, I look forward to seeing you very soon and success over this offseason, and hopefully we can catch up again down the road.
I look forward to it. Always enjoyed being with y'all. Thanks for your time today, and I look forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday out at Legion Field.
Sounds good. Thank you, Coach. That is Coach Skip Holtz joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Once again, that website is footballcamps.theufl.com. We roll along on this Reaction Monday. Bottom of the hour, Peter Raderkus, who covers the Auburn Tigers, will join us. That's all straight ahead on Three Man Front. Always great to talk to Coach Skip Holtz, head football coach of the Birmingham Stallions. Well, if there was any question from a so-called podcaster around the UFL, not to mention the fact I just don't think that the Birmingham Stallions will be having a free football clinic on Wednesday at Legion Field.
If they weren't going to be here.
They weren't going to
I
be
wouldn't
here?
think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Seems like a complete waste of time, but
No, and I think we also agree that, I don't think the Stallions would be first on the chopping block in terms of moving
No.
an organization to a different destination.
yeah, I would.
I wouldn't think they'd be first on that list.
Yeah, very much so.
But glad Coach could clear that up. And, yeah, hopefully y'all can get out to Legion Field on Wednesday. And these, again, like you said, and we talked about a lot, I think these events are great because it allows the people that, let's be honest, during the season, you don't get a lot of FaceTime with Coach Holtz and the players and really just the organization as a whole outside of the game day. So these types of events, I think, are very, very important. I hope they get to do more of them, and we get to do more events like things similar to, what we had with the Squadron recently, events like that with the Stallions, hopefully in the near future.
Yeah, so it's a flag football clinic, 2 to 4, and the football skills clinic will be from 5 to 7, both on Wednesday. The clinic will be broken into 2 groups, flag football clinic for grades 5 through 12, and a football skills clinic for grades 7 through 12.
Yeah, and he said, I think a lot of the skills, it's just fundamentals, right? The things that you would expect going to if you went to football camps, things like that growing up. So, yeah, it should be a big time. And it's free. It is free.
That's the best part.
Yes. It's going to be
free.
hot, but it's free.
It is free. So get by and see them. Tomorrow, ACC Media Days will kick off in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm sure Jim Phillips will have the same type of rhetoric that you heard from Brett Yormark at Big 12 Media Days. Miami, SMU, those are 2 of the highlighted teams on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Big 10 Media Days in Las Vegas, Nevada, first time that it's been held on that side of the Mississippi River.
Do we know where in what the venue is in Las Vegas?
Molly is sourcing that information as we speak. Ohio State, Nebraska, Illinois. Those are the 3 teams that I've highlighted to pay attention to tomorrow.
Those would be 3 good ones.
On Wednesday, it's Oregon and Penn State. It's a big one.
Yeah.
Thursday, Michigan, Iowa, USC.
So who will be do you think Bielema will be the standout coach? Yeah, the one that will get the most out of, whether it's because it's entertaining or asinine or, whatever.
Well, I will say this, and I'm not saying this because Molly went to school there, but Matt Rule's always good for a good soundbite.
He is.
I mean, not an idiotic soundbite like Brett Bielema, but he is good for one.
I think it's at the Mandalay Bay.
Okay.
All right.
I was just curious which. I figured it was at one of.
We will try to listen to Tony
casinos.
Tony Petiti. I think he's speaking. Is at 1 o'clock tomorrow?
He is scheduled. Yep, to go to the podium at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
I would think that because you were saying Jim Phillips probably going to echo a lot of the things we heard from Brett Yormark. Maybe he won't, get up there and say, I'm doubling down on this playoff format. Maybe he will. But I would think Tony Petiti would maybe be the one to – I will be shocked if he doesn't take a shot at the SEC in his opening statement in some form or fashion involving –
Phillips or Petiti?
Petiti. Involving the conference game schedule and how that's holding up the playoff debate.
I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think he's going to take a shot at the SEC. I do believe that he will make it, obviously, cement the idea that they're not backing down off their automatic qualifiers.
Okay.
You heard Greg Sankey on with Paul Feinbaum as they wrapped up SEC football media days, and he said that him and Petini talk 4 times a week. They talked, I think, that morning on Thursday.
It's a lot of conversations.
A lot of conversations with the can continuing to be kicked down the road.
Yeah, hopefully one of those conversations in the near future will be the conversation that maybe breaks through and they find some sort of middle ground perhaps for what that's going to look like. Because, again, it is just so fascinating how all of these things kind of all go, the College Football Playoff Committee, the 8 or 9 game conference schedule, the future of the playoff. They all are waiting on the other 2 dominoes to fall before they get settled. So
just think of this. At 5 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, every single media day will be wrapped up. And then teams will be on the practice field before you know it.
That's right.
Yay.
And then we will have football. I think we're, 33 days away?
Ooh, something. Yeah, that sounds about right. We are 5 weekends away, 5 Saturdays away from the start of college football season.
We got NFL camps opening up.
Yeah, some already. I know some have already reported. I think the last two, I know the Falcons, I think they open up their camp on Wednesday. I think they're the last team to open it up. So it'll be, I was looking it up, the Hall of Fame game is in 10 days. The first NFL preseason game is in 10 days. That's pretty wild.
Have you finished the season 2 of The Quarterback?
I have not. I'm 4 or so episodes into it. 4 or 5.
I'm 2 into it.
It's I think it's enjoyable. I don't know about you, but I think for me at least, it's Joe Burrow has been very interesting because he's
eclectic.
He's just not what you would think he would be, I guess, in terms of some of his interest, and he seems to be very quiet, kind of likes to be left alone, maybe doesn't love the spotlight a whole lot, likes to
I think it was in episode
play
2
the piano.
when his mom was talking about how he used to love dressing up when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Kind of like a model, almost like a Mac Jones when he was a
oh yeah,
model,
when he was a child model. Yeah, well, and they talked about, because I guess he did some fashion show this offseason and how that was like a lifelong dream of his, and it went back to him being a kid, and very
well, it makes sense because the way that episode where he was dealing with his stylist.
Yes.
Where his stylist brought everything in the room of what he was going to wear going to a game, because that's the big thing now of what people are wearing when they're walking in, heading into the locker room, how their choices on what he wanted to wear, a fur coat.
Oh, I know. Well, and there was, I forgot what it was, but there was something that he wanted to wear, and even his fashion expert was like, well, that's bold. It's like, wow, that it must be interesting then if your fashion stylist, whatever your professional stylist is saying that's bold. But yeah, he's an interesting character. Very, very close with his parents.
Very close.
Very close with his parents.
Yep. Speaking of media days, so the Sun Belt Conference, they have just released a few moments ago their preseason coaches poll.
Ooh.
Coaches poll.
Okay.
Not media poll.
No, coaches poll.
Coaches poll.
Alrighty.
And the winner of the Sun Belt East is James Madison. Georgia Southern came in at number 2.
Okay.
In the Sun Belt East. In the Sun Belt West, the Ragin' Cajuns were voted by the coaches to be number 1. Texas State was 2, Arkansas State 3, South Alabama 4, Southern Miss 5, Troy 6, and ULM 7th. So South Alabama in the preseason coaches poll by the Sun Belt Conference comes in at number 4, Troy at 6. A little bit surprised about Southern Mississippi because you're basically bringing all of Marshall over.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. But so James Madison picked to win the East, and the Ragin' Cajuns from Louisiana picked to win the West.
Yeah, not a big surprise there. And as you know, I mean, we know Troy is, with John Summerall moving on to Tulane, they're in a little bit of a rebuilding phase now. And South Alabama with Kane Womack leaving for Alabama, trying to get those programs back, because those were 2 of the very best programs in that conference here recently, especially Troy. I mean, Troy was an absolutely incredible program there for a number of years. So hopefully this is the year they start to get back to that. But yeah, I think James Madison's probably an easy pick for a lot of people just overall in the conference with what they've been able to do, even with Signetti leaving.
So what's going on with the Auburn football program? Recruiting, Malcolm Simmons, SEC Media Days, the picks, Peter Raderkus, who covers the Auburn Tigers. He will join us next on 3 Man Front. 12:33 on this Reaction Monday. Appreciate you tuning us in on this hot, steamy Monday. It is Reaction Monday. Right off the heels of SEC football media days last week, we were there in the College Football Hall of Fame all 4 days, and our next guest, he was there as well as he was covering the Auburn Tigers for AL.com. Peter Raderkus joins us now on Three Man Front. Peter, I hope you're doing well. Did not want to bother you because you were busy as a bee pollinating from flower to flower last week there in Atlanta. So we appreciate you taking time out for us today. Before we start talking about the 2025 season, you can't talk about that without the question about Malcolm Simmons and the situation that is currently going on. And you guys at AL.com done an outstanding job covering that story. Is there an update, or what can you tell us the very latest about Malcolm Simmons?
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate the compliment on our coverage, and thanks again for having me. Yeah, obviously, very serious, very disturbing, situation. Malcolm Simmons obviously was arrested on a charge of domestic assault with strangulation or suffocation. I think there's not a whole lot out there other than that as of now. I mean, we reported, I think that was, I can't remember now, Thursday or Friday. I think it was Friday, just at the latest, after getting the deposition and seeing what was said to the police on scene. But, in terms of from Auburn's standpoint, I mean, they've put out a statement saying, they're aware of what's going on, they're gathering information, but they haven't made any clear statement on Simmons's, I guess, place on the team or his, what could happen with him going forward. And, so I don't want to speculate too much on what their information they might be waiting for, what's going to happen next. But as of now, yeah, it's just a very, very serious situation.
And obviously, Peter, in this situation, football is the last thing that matters. I mean, we're talking about a very serious thing here with Malcolm Simmons and that whole investigation. But, assuming moving forward, removing him from the equation potentially, how would you assess the Auburn wide receiver room, particularly from a depth standpoint? Because I think we all know with Singleton and Cam Coleman there at the front, they're as good as anybody maybe in the entire country. But you have to imagine Malcolm Simmons was going to fix or figure himself into that mix pretty heavily. So what does this Auburn receiver room look like potentially not having a guy like Malcolm Simmons in it for the upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, Simmons, it's hard to say whether or not he was projected to be a starter. Probably, obviously I think the front three is probably Coleman, Singleton, and Horatio Fields from Wake Forest, but Simmons was definitely going to play a role. I mean, this is a guy that played a lot as a freshman last year. I think, if you assume that he's not in the picture, I think they still have the depth to cover for him. I think obviously losing somebody like him would hurt the team on the field. I mean, just what he brings with the speed and everything. But, looking at the rest of the room, first guy I look at is a guy like Sam Turner, true freshman, only at either 3-star or low 4-star recruit coming out of high school, but had a really, really good spring, was one of the top wide receivers in the whole team during spring practice. And I think if Simmons isn't in the equation, I think he's somebody that gets some more run. Bryce Cain is another guy who's kind of a similar archetype to Simmons, smaller receiver, fast, quick, didn't really play at all last year as a freshman, but was part of that Freeze 4 group. I think he's another person who you could see get a lot more snaps and a lot more targets if Simmons is not in the equation.
Talking to Peter Raderkus, who covers the Auburn Tigers for AL.com, joins us on the Higginbotham hotline here on Three Man Front. All right, so let's talk about a couple of position groups, in your opinion, Peter, that when we get to fall camp, that you're going to have a spirited position battle. Are there a couple of areas on that Auburn football team right now that you're kind of keen on, that it's going to be a pretty healthy position battle going into the fall?
I think the one that I'm circling the most is definitely corner. That's going to be really fascinating to watch because, Auburn, they bring back their two starting corners, the two boundary guys from last year with Jay Crawford and Cam Lee, two guys who both had good seasons, especially Jay Crawford, someone who as a true freshman was, if you're looking at the metrics and, PSF, depending on how much stock you put into those grades, he was one of the best freshmen and one of the best corners overall in the SEC. But, they bring in Rayon Strader from Miami of Ohio, who was, MAC cornerback of the year last year, with a freshman All-American 2 years ago. He's somebody who's definitely capable of starting and playing right away. They also bring in Rashawn Pleasant from Tulane, another guy who played at the G5 level but was really good there, was named a preseason All-American, I think Walter Camp as a kick returner. And as another guy who's very capable in coverage. I asked you, Freeze, right before SC Media Days, what was the reason, that the thinking behind bringing in two more corners when you got your two starters coming back? And he said, you can really just never have enough bodies at that position. And he wanted healthy competition. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that shakes out during camp.
So we know last year, you had a lot of young guys getting some valuable playing time, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. And so now some of those guys coming back, your DeMarcus Riddick, your Malik Blockton type guys. Are there players that you're looking at this year as incoming freshmen from this last class that you expect to make a pretty immediate impact on the defensive side of the ball or find themselves a heavy part of the rotation? Or do you think, just based on all of the work they've done building up this roster the last couple of years, maybe not so much immediate playing time for some of those young guys?
Yeah, I definitely don't think there's going to be as many as you saw last season, but I think there's definitely at least a few that have potential. I'm going to go back to corner. I mean, Freeze, I was talking about Hugh Freeze mentioning why they brought in two corners. He mentioned Blake Woodby, even a guy who was a true freshman for the bringing in at corner, and Donovan Starr, two guys who maybe could play in that. But the one that stands out to most to me is looking at the defensive line. You mentioned Malik Blockton was the freshman who really popped and played a lot last year. But, to me, it's Jordan Crawford. I mean, guy, Birmingham kid out of Parker High School, just really, really strong. I mean, I think 6 foot 340, just a, really hard guy to block coming right up the middle, in pass rush situations. I think there's going to be heavy rotation on the interior D line, but he's somebody who I think is going to get a lot of snaps early on.
Peter, I got to ask you this in regards to the potential of this Auburn football team. The media voted last week in the SEC media poll. They did not give Auburn a lot of love. Auburn comes in, according to the scribes and the broadcasters around the SEC, as the 11th best team coming into this season. What's just your overall thoughts? I'm not asking you for a prediction of where Auburn is going to be this season, but when you saw that, did it shock you, or was that right in line in regards to where you think the general population thinks about this Auburn football team and where it potentially can go this year?
I wouldn't say I was shocked. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about a team that's 11-14 in the past two seasons and hasn't won more than 6 games since 2019. So, it's kind of like, yeah, the team's more talented, and sure, everybody in the building is confident, but everybody who's not in the building isn't paying as close attention. It's like, what do they have to go off of to believe that all of a sudden it's going to be this huge ascent? I think looking at that, I don't think it's a bad prediction from, I guess the media people from the outside. And I think that Auburn, they're in a position where I think it easily could go that way, but they easily have the potential to, I wouldn't say compete for the SEC championship, but be back in the mix, back in the conversation. I mean, Hugh Freeze went as far during SC Media Days as saying he expects Auburn will be in the CFP discussion next year, this upcoming season. I don't know that I'd go that far, but it's a team that I think has some boomer bust potential. And 11 to 5, if I'm somebody on the outside, and if I'm having to put money on it, I don't know how much higher than that I would go.
Spending a few more moments with Peter Rauterkus here, covers the Auburn Tigers for AL.com as he joins us here on Three Man Front. So, Peter, I did want to ask, just based on, from the expectations for the entire team, I think we would all agree that a lot of that's going to come down to Jackson Arnold and what you're able to get out of the Oklahoma transfer at quarterback. So based on the conversations you had in Atlanta, what seemed to be kind of maybe the consensus on those expectations for Jackson Arnold this upcoming year? Because I know a lot of people are very optimistic. Hugh Freeze kind of mentioned him getting his swagger back after coming over to Auburn. So what do you think we're looking at, and what did other media members kind of tell you what they're expecting from Jackson Arnold this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously from inside the building, they're confident. I think, when it comes to an outside perspective, similar to the discussion about Auburn's expectations as a whole, I think there's a little bit of caution, maybe some cautious optimism, but just some, you don't want to put yourself out there too much about a guy who, threw for less than 1,500 yards last year, was benched during the season, and just had a really shaky, first year starting. And I think that's fair. I mean, I think it's also I think you have to look at the context of that situation and understand that, Oklahoma had really poor offensive line, receivers were injured. offensive coordinator change. I mean, even Brent Venables went on the record at SEC Media Day saying that, in some cases, you could argue that Jackson Arnold never even really had a chance last year, given what was happening. So it makes it almost very difficult to predict or evaluate where he is and what he can give Auburn, because there's this thought that we haven't really seen him in a situation where he can actually show what he's capable of.
That is Peter Raderkoos, does an outstanding job covering the Auburn Tigers for AL.com. Peter, always great to catch up. We've got ball. Guys will actually be on the practice fields coming up in less than 2 weeks. I know we're all excited about that. Hopefully we can catch up with you again very soon.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Peter. That is Peter Raderkoos joining us on the Higginbotham hotline. And one thing's for sure, the Auburn Tigers is one of those teams that the sky is the limit. And based on what the SEC media, Conrad, had them predicted, and you heard what Peter had to say, so there is exciting facets of this football team, and definitely the ceiling of 8 or 9 wins could definitely be there.
No doubt about it. And I think, you do have that cautious optimism, kind of like Peter was talking about. With things like, the last couple of years and the record that Hugh Freeze has at Auburn hasn't been very impressive. But I think we all agree that the roster he has built up through the last 2 recruiting cycles and now through the transfer portal as well, this is easily the most talented group that he has had there. We talked a lot. The wide receiver group may be the best in the country. And the defense really came a long way last year under DJ Durkin. So there's a lot of reason for optimism for Auburn. But as we all know, they're going to have to prove it on the field in ways that they haven't been able to the last couple of years.
When we come back on 3-Man Front, we'll get back to the phone calls at 1-800-239-WJOX. The Courtesy GMC text line is open as well, 205-834-9450. 12:48 on this Reaction Monday. This is Jox. This is Three Man Front. Pat, Molly, Conrad. Landrum on vacation. He'll be back with us towards the end of the week. If you missed any of our interviews, we had Coach Skip Holtz on from the Birmingham Stallions, Peter Radakus just a moment ago talking Auburn football. You can always download the Three Man Front podcast.
Well, the Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal, but don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand for 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jox. So go and find a comfort specialist near you at Trane.com.
So it was kind of bizarre this morning reading that Tony Petitti, who disciplined Jim Harbaugh at the University of Michigan for the Connor Stallions situation, has now sent a letter to the NCAA saying enough's enough. Time to move on.
They've been punished enough?
Yeah. In a letter to the NCAA Committee on Infractions, the Big Ten commissioner argued Michigan has been sufficiently punished for Connor Stallions' advanced scouting scheme and that no further punishment is necessary or appropriate. Michigan is facing 11 charges, 6 of them level 1 variety, the NCAA's equivalent of a felony. So, yeah, you're accused
Well, you cheated for multiple years.
Have they been punished enough, Conrad?
It's wild that, I mean, I'm sorry, we make people give back Heisman trophies over, I guess wrongful payments, or the way that money exchange hands back in the day wasn't above board, and so people give back Heisman trophies. But yet a program cheated openly for multiple years, won a national title, and they get to keep that national title, and they are not punished in any way whatsoever. It's obscene.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
Can you imagine? Let's say Florida got hammered with the cheating scandal. Can you imagine Greg Sankey writing a letter pleading, oh, no, please take it easy on them. They've been through enough already. Can you imagine? He would never do something like that.
Well, apparently he wrote the letter because Tony Petitti had hip surgery and that he was actually going to go to the Committees on Infractions in-person hearing.
But instead,
he wrote this letter, which has just come to light today by ESPN.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the anesthesia got to his head, and that's what made him think this was a good idea.
So for the record, the only punishment that the University of Michigan has received because of the scandal came from the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
The conference suspended then head coach Jim Harbaugh for 3 games down the stretch of 2023 in the regular season. Michigan won all 3 of their games without him at Penn State, at Maryland, at home against Ohio State. Michigan initially sued to get an emergency temporary restraining order on a suspension against Harbaugh before backing off and serving the suspension. When Michigan defeated Iowa in the Big Ten championship the week after Harbaugh's suspension ended, Petitti and Harbaugh did not acknowledge each other on the stage as the Wolverines received their trophy. But now the commissioner of the Big Ten Conference is apparently endorsing no more penalties. Enough's enough.
I don't get that.
He got suspended for 3 games, and that's... I mean, I guess to be fair, in Major League Baseball, they didn't really do a whole lot to the Astros, did they?
No, they did not.
That's true.
I guess cheating kind of... You can get away with it a little more now, can't you? Unfortunately. That's just... It's just ridiculous.
Yep.
Hold him accountable. I mean, again, and how would he feel, similar to what I said about I can't imagine Greg Sankey ever doing something like that. Can you imagine Tony Petitti's response if this was an SEC program and, it was, oh, yeah, just take it easy on him? Now, do you think that he would feel the same way?
Oh, the Kings of the North podcast, it'd be going crazy. Are you kidding me?
Oh, the SEC is getting preferential treatment.
It's unbelievable.
That is crazy to openly, hey, I know essentially, my employee, basically, if you're the commissioner of a conference, my employee cheated and did some horrible things openly for multiple years, but, we handled that internally, so don't worry about it.
So what did you guys think about President Trump last night going on social media telling the Cleveland Guardians and the Washington Commanders to change their names back to Indians and Redskins?
Let's do it. Bring them back.
What do you think?
I mean, I didn't have a problem with the names in the first place.
He went to Truth Social and he posted, the Washington Whatevers should immediately change their name back to the Washington Redskins football team. There is a big clamoring for this. Likewise, the Cleveland Indians, one of the 6 original baseball teams with a storied past, our great Indian people in massive numbers want this to happen. Their heritage and prestige is systematically being taken away from them. Times are different now than they were 3 to 4 years ago. We are a country of passion and common sense. Owners get it done! Exclamation point.
And look, I understand I could understand why the Indians and the Redskins team names, why those were the ones that I guess got the most flack for it. But I'm sorry, I refuse to understand how we don't have a problem with the Kansas City Chiefs or Arrowhead Stadium or the Braves mascot and doing it's just, again, it's all or nothing. And in my opinion, I think it's silly, especially, he brings up with the Indians. I mean, that's one of the original organizations from Major League Baseball. I mean, there's so much historical relevance there. I thought it was ridiculous when we went through this whole name changing thing a number of years ago, but now I just don't understand why. Some organizations are allowed to keep it and some are forced to change.
Cleveland Guardians president Chris Antonelli, after Donald Trump called for the team to restore its name to the Indians, he was quoted as saying, we've gotten the opportunity to build the brand as the Guardians of the last 4 years, and we're excited about the future that's in front of us, end of quote.
Well, that's the politically correct response.
So, yeah, the president of the United States now chiming in on team nicknames.
Bring them back.
He ended one of his tweets, make Indians great again. Mega. I'm just rating Truth Social.
I know.
Hour number 4 is straight ahead. This is 3-Man Front. It is hour number 4. Welcome back. It's 3-Man Front on Jox on this hot, steamy Monday. We'll do some Pat Ponders this hour. Joining us in studio, Damian Mitchell. Damian, how you doing, man? What's happening?
Doing well. Feel like I missed some action a little bit earlier. Everything good?
Yeah, man. We were just talking about the President of the United States chiming in last night, saying that the Cleveland Indians and the Washington Commanders should change their names back to from Guardians to Indians and Commanders to Redskins. Do you have a feeling one way or another on those two franchises?
No, I don't. I actually started to grow with the Washington football team there
You know
for
what?
a period of time.
I'm like you.
I like
was
that
cool.
better than Commanders, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yep. I agree with that.
Hey, and now they're actually good. Because the majority of our lifetimes they were not. I had an uncle who's a big Redskins fan, and he was constantly miserable. So
Now, I do like the way that the Guardians. I mean, I know the Commanders kept the same color scheme, with the burgundy and the yellow. And then with, obviously, the Guardians, the same colors that the Indians had. But I thought they missed an opportunity because one of the original Cleveland baseball teams were the Spiders.
that would have made sense to go back to that.
And there's, outside of the Richmond Spiders, that's not one of those overused,
That would have been really cool.
Mascots. And
pay homage to your history a little bit.
They had a really cool logo. I mean, because there was like a grassroots effort. There's like, okay, if you're going to change the name, here's an opportunity. It's historic. You can go back to that. So
that would have been cool.
That would have made a lot of sense. But
and just going back, you might not know this, but one of the reasons why the Washington football team had the mascot that it had in the very beginning was because it was located in Boston. And the owner of the Boston team was the team that owned the National League's Boston Braves. And the Boston Braves logo was an Indian with a headdress on.
Right.
And so the football team decided to go with the name Redskins as opposed to Braves because they did not want to confuse the two teams.
So we almost had the Washington Braves. Potentially. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yep.
Okay. Well, some people want them to stay with the new names, and some people like.
Do we have anybody on the text line?
Yeah. Let's see. Will chimes in on the courtesy GMC text line, which you can also do at 205-834-9450. He says, Pat has never had to enunciate something so clearly until that last acronym. Thank God he did.
What was the acronym?
Make Indians great again.
MIGA.
Yes.
I can see where that could I'm glad you enunciated it, Pat.
I am too.
You're a professional.
Yeah.
I am too.
Take nothing but the best.
Someone else chimes in and says, yeah, Pat, don't know if I would say that one again.
Oh, my apologies. Is it Friday? Are y'all getting filthy today?
It's always filthy.
And randomly someone says, so at the end of the day, how much was that Coldplay ticket? I like that that's just a random text that somebody sent. Based on what I saw, with that guy's net worth, I think about $650 million is what that Coldplay ticket's ultimately going to cost somebody.
Well, I go back to something that you said, and I know that Landrum has mentioned this before about the Braves in Atlanta, that they have gotten endorsements from, I guess, the Native American groups.
Yes.
In Georgia, or I guess throughout the Southeast, where they do not
in
have
support of that,
they don't have any issues. And FSU Dave, he has educated us over time about Florida State and the Seminoles. I know that the Chicago Blackhawk hockey team, they're actually named after a military unit.
Okay.
And the mascot that's on their sweater
has
to do with one of the chiefs that was based in Illinois, based in the old days. But originally,
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, the Black Hawk name is for a United States military group out of Illinois.
I'm assuming that's where the helicopter's name comes from as well, perhaps?
Perhaps.
Or something along those lines.
But you mentioned the Chiefs.
Well, and somebody chimes in and they said, well, Indians and Redskins are racial slurs compared to the Braves and the Chiefs, which are not. And again, I get the difference of the names where, you could take those as offensive, whereas I guess the Braves and the Chiefs you would not. However, again, it just feels one of those things where if it's a problem, you would want to change all of them to avoid any risk of ever upsetting somebody or offending. I don't know. I guess that's just how my mind works.
Well, President Trump went as far as in one of the tweets, he was talking about perhaps causing a problem with the new stadium for the Commanders. Because they're redoing RFK Stadium in the District of Columbia, not in Landover, Maryland, where their other stadium is. Mm-hmm. And so you have the feds involved now.
Oh, boy.
And so now he is basically trying to hold that over the ownership's head and said, you know. And one of the other reasons why the Washington Redskins changed their name is because Federal Express, they're one of the big corporate sponsors of the football team. You know, it used to be FedEx Field, yes. Mm-hmm. When the stadium was built. Mm-hmm. After the George Floyd protests, that Federal Express, they felt a lot of corporate pressure about being associated with the franchise called the Washington Redskins. And so FedEx
ducked out.
So FedEx used their weight to get the point across that you might need to change your name.
Interesting. Okay. That is interesting. Yeah, we have let's see. Mario, he chimes in on the text line and says, I think a lot of people in today's world are maybe just a little too soft. I don't personally think that they were ever meant to harm anybody, but in today's world, you just never know. And I think, you know, again, people can have their own opinions.
So here's my question. Let's say the Washington Commanders kept the name Commanders.
Okay.
But they put
the logo back
on the helmet. Would that be viewed as a problem?
I don't think so.
Or is it just because the term Redskins is deemed offensive?
Are we talking the same logo that they used to have?
The exact same logo.
Then yes, I think people would have a problem with that.
See, I don't think so.
I don't think they would either. I think it has to do with the actual name.
I think it's the name more than anything, but I think if you have the exact same logo, then people would all, you know, people be, oh, well, this is your way of bringing it back without officially bringing it back.
But what's the difference in that? If you look at the Chicago Blackhawks logo?
I agree. No, yeah. I agree 100%. But again, people get upset about literally everything.
That's a fact.
So literally anything. You can't, you're going to be wrong in someone's eyes all the time.
I mean, the best nickname that I heard that was a finalist was Red Tails, which was in honor of the,
that'd been cool.
Yeah.
That'd been cool.
But
that'd have been a good one. But Commanders it is, I guess.
For the time being.
I'm with you, though, Damien. I thought football team was...
It stuck.
Yeah.
It was different.
People kind of rallied around. Like, at first, you're like, oh, that's really lazy. But then it's like, it's so simple that it's perfect. Yep. And who knows? Maybe one day.
Any more complaints?
No.
Any more enunciations?
Oh, no. Here, we have an announcement, though. This is not dealing with what we were just talking about, but we do have an announcement from BB. One of our lovely... Is
tomorrow bread pudding day?
Unfortunately...
Oh, no.
BB texts in and says, just giving everyone a heads up, I will not be able to make it to Social Taco tomorrow, but she will be there on the 29th, so a week from tomorrow, she will be at Social Taco, and she will have banana pudding.
Hey.
Banana pudding.
So, unfortunately, no BB tomorrow.
Yeah.
See, I'm not. I like bananas, but I'm not a banana pudding
I don't like
guy.
it either.
Man, y'all missing out.
Do you like bananas?
No.
What?
Mm-mm.
Man.
Do you like bananas, Conrad? Oh, yeah. You eat them upside down. Yeah, you eat them. Yeah.
No, I eat them the way that monkeys eat them, which...
Oh, yeah, from the peel part, like the...
Again, if there's any
from the very bottom
animal that's going to know how to eat a banana the proper way, do you not think that's just a natural instinct for a monkey?
He's got a point.
I'm just saying.
He has a point.
How do you think I learned how to swim? I watched fish for a long time, and I learned how to swim. I just jumped in. You can learn a lot from nature. So I'm just saying. I didn't actually do that. That would be really cool if that worked, though. Okay, so somebody chimes in. They said, so I guess y'all wouldn't have a problem if they named an organization the Washington Caucasians. I wouldn't care one bit if they did that. It's kind of a weird name, but I mean, that does not offend me at all.
It'd be goofy.
Yeah,
it's like, okay.
That yeah, I'm sorry I mean, honestly, that would not bother me at all. Someone chimes in, they say, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and I've always thought that the Washington logo was cool. It reminds me almost of Florida State, but I think with everything in life, this stuff is just too political. Football sports logos and names are supposed to be fun. Whatever happened to all of that? I'd love an NFL team called the Birmingham Bandits, but I guess with all the crime, that's not a good idea.
We did have the Birmingham Bandits, the CBA team, Continental Basketball Association.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We had one that played at Fair Park Arena.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. See, and here is going back to the Blackhawks name. Said and Beham chimes in. He says, Army helicopters other than the Cobra are all named after Native American tribes. That includes the Blackhawk.
There you go.
That's where it comes from.
Very cool.
That's a very cool connection there. Let's see. We have more people saying, yeah, I don't have any problems with the logo, or I would be fine if they wanted to bring it back. Corey chimes in, says, I love banana pudding, and I eat bananas the same way that Conrad does. Thank you, Corey. I'm glad I'm not the only one there. Let's see. Andrew chimes in and says, why would you not want to represent your culture through professional sports in a way that connects with everybody in the country?
Aniana's still the Redskins, aren't they?
Ooh. They were when I was in.
Right.
They were.
Are they still the Redskins?
Let's see. Looks like it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, this is Alabama, though. We built different down here. We move at a different pace down here. They're fine. Don't want to go barking down that tree.
No. I was about to say, yep. Someone says, yep, Aniana's still the Redskins.
We will continue to read your text messages. Let's go back to the phones. Dave in Hoover joins us here on 3-Man Front. Hey, Dave.
Hey, guys. Down here in Tuscaloosa, on my way back, moving a couple of kids across town, different apartments. Yeah,
oh, boy.
It goes.
It's nice.
Fun.
It's a nice, cool day to move, isn't it? It's just very nice outside.
Fortunately, it's just a little bit of stuff. But anyway, hey, I saw Stephen A. Smith this morning. He was talking about the whole thing about the Washington Redskins. And by the way, Red Man Chewing Tobacco, which is what I chewed when I played baseball, their name has changed. It's like America's Chew or something.
Oh, is it really?
They took the Indian head.
Oh, okay.
They took the Indian head off of it. It used to be the same Indian head, basically, that was on the Redskins helmet. It's gone completely.
Hey, I was going to ask you. You're a big Braves fan. What is? I know Landrum has mentioned it before. What is the relationship that the Braves have with the I guess some southeastern tribes where obviously they have no issue at all with the Braves or the tomahawk chop or anything like that?
They don't. Levi Walker, Chief Nakahoma was one of them. But what they did do though is, remember the old uniform on the sleeve that had the Indian head patch on the side.
Right.
They did away with that. That's gone. That's no longer. I don't know why, but that was part of their little agreement or whatever. But so Stephen A. Smith kind of made a political deal out of it this morning. He said, I'm not going to make this political, but he made it political. Trump said, if you want your $1 billion from the government, I understand the Redskins or the Washington football team, the Commanders have raised $2.5 to $3 billion, but they need another $1 billion. Trump said he'd give it to them as long as they change the name back. Well, now all the far left liberals are saying, oh, well, you can lay off 300,000 federal workers, but you're going to go ahead and give $1 billion for somebody to build a stadium. So, I don't know. Look, the Redskins logo wasn't a problem for 100 years, and all of a sudden it's a problem. I don't get it. Florida State said they're not changing. Braves not changing. Some people caved, but I don't know. It's just the world in which we live in.
Oh, it is. Dave, we always appreciate the call. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it very much. Dave giving us a call at 1-800-239-WJOX. Molly just sent me this story, and this is very fascinating. I'm going to do a little bit more digging on this, but Ross Dellinger is reporting that the University of Memphis has reportedly offered $200 million to the Big 12 to enter their conference.
Wow.
Like Memphis is going to pay the Big 12?
$200 million.
Ooh.
Wow.
That is They can start tomorrow for $200 million.
All right, so Ross Dellinger is reporting that Memphis has made a $200 million offer to join the Big 12. Brett McMurphy is now reporting that the Big 12 is not interested in adding Memphis. Now, you want to talk about a direct slap in the face.
Man.
Where you're offering $200 million to enter into the conference, and they said that they're not interested. Not like,
that's wild.
Hey, we have no comment. Hey, we're not discussing this.
No,
they've given a quote to Brett McMurphy saying, we're not interested.
Wow.
We don't want your $200 million.
Those are words you'll never hear come out of my mouth. We don't want your $200 million.
$200 million.
I would slap a patch on there so quick. Like, man, yes. What
Welcome
day
to
do
the
you
team.
need? Yeah, like, come on. Yeah, we will find, $200 million?
$200 million bucks.
You want to play in the conference title game this year? Yep, guaranteed. All right. Let's do it.
Wow. What a wild story.
Hey, Memphis.
My goodness. Is that old tree leaning too close to your house? Don't wait for the next storm to make that decision for you. Call Golston Tree Service 205-337-4443. Your trusted local experts in fast, affordable, professional tree removal, trimming, and cleanup. Call Golston Tree Service today. That number, 205-337-4443. Golston also offers 24 hours emergency tree service. So when it comes to your trees, don't risk it. Call Golston Tree Service. Number, once again, 205-337-4443. More of your text, your calls. We'll do some Pat Ponders as well. This is Three Man Front on Jox. Wow, what a crazy story coming out of Memphis. $200 million was offered to the Big 12 Conference. There's other schools that I would probably say, you know what, no thanks. But I mean, to me, that's not out of the realm of craziness to think that Memphis
They'd probably be fairly competitive.
would be a good fit. Are you kidding me? With Cincinnati and UCF? I mean, really?
I mean, they're a really good football program and basketball.
Yeah, that's that, and basketball too, for sure. Like they're gonna come in and compete for sure.
So, reading this story, apparently this was the proposal from Memphis. It would feature hundreds of millions of dollars in sponsorship commitments to the Big 12 from the University of Memphis affiliated corporate partners, as well as the school sending the revenue distribution from the league for at least 5 years. Apparently, the president of Memphis has spent the last 14 months courting the Big 12. I will tell you this. I do know that Brett Yormark was in Memphis last year, towards the end of the year, and he was meeting with some of the Memphis folks.
Interesting.
But you also know that Brett Yormark met with Gonzaga in Austin, Texas last year, and nothing came of that.
Well, and this is interesting too because I guess it looked like recently that maybe the Pac-12 was going to be ultimately where Memphis ended up, at least for football. So yeah, I mean, if you're Memphis, you got to be a little upset. I'd be curious though. So with what you were saying, so essentially half of the money would come from corporate sponsors, and the other half would be that revenue sharing, that $20.5 million that all the schools are going to use. Would that mean that they would basically have to operate for 5 years and not being able to offer NIL opportunities to student athletes?
No, because I think that would lead to another lawsuit. I think what they were trying to say is that they would take that money and you would not have to pay us league rights. Kind of like what SMU is doing with the ACC.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense.
So basically, instead of making X number of dollars being a Big 12 member, they would defer it for X number of years.
Okay.
Why wouldn't the Big 12 want them?
I guess because you have to go get 2 schools, right? If you bring in Memphis, maybe?
The other aspect to that is perhaps maybe some of the new members of the Big 12 may not be too keen on adding Memphis. And I'm talking about the Four Corner schools, the Arizonas, the Arizona States, the Utahs, the Colorados.
That's not a bad point.
I'm not saying Memphis is not a good school.
Right.
But it's not part of the AAU. And maybe some folks did not want them to be a part of the league.
And I guess more potential travel, too, for a lot of those programs.
Ross Dellinger, moments ago, who broke the story about this $200 million proposal from Memphis to the Big 12. He says where Memphis goes next remains unclear. Pac-12 has expressed serious interest and even offered the school a term sheet last year. Memphis officials have, as well, held talks with leaders in the Big East about a potential move of their basketball program. That was the thing that I had heard most recently, is that Memphis was looking to leave the American and go to the Big East in basketball.
That would certainly be, that would sound like it would make sense.
But the issue with that is that if I was the American and you're not going to play, I will tell you this, I know this for a fact. So when UAB shut down its football program, and everyone knows that the basketball program has been, top of the line.
They've been very good
since Gene Bartow started the program in the late 70s. Well, part of the Conference USA, they would not allow UAB to remain a member of Conference USA unless they brought football back.
Oh.
Well, and I could understand from the standpoint of, okay, so we're not good enough for you in basketball, so why would we want to put up with you for the other
if I was the American, I would tell Memphis that you're either all in or you're out.
Gone.
See ya. Go be an independent. Go play with UConn.
I get that.
You and UConn can tandem teams and go find you a schedule. That's exactly what I'd do if that were the case. So, but now CBS Sports is reporting that the Big 12's board is not interested in adding Memphis to the conference.
I don't know, man.
I didn't see this one coming today.
For $200 million, I mean, whether I want you or not, the money's good.
Well, and it's like Pat brought up too. It's not let's sit down and have a conversation about this and see what this looks like. It's a straight up not interested.
Right.
That's where it goes. Okay. But I mean, to Pat's point again, you said he kind of did some leg work. Brett Yormark did last year about Memphis. So maybe he had all the information and it was a situation where, there's a certain dollar amount that if they hit, then the conversation becomes interesting, and maybe 200 million just isn't that. But
and since we're throwing out some like crazy numbers, Conrad, a minute ago you were telling me and Damian what Texas A&M spent last year in NIL compensation between July 1st of 2024 and June 30th of 2025. What was the number for Texas A&M athletes?
So the number for Texas A&M combined was $51.4 million in NIL compensation, and that was split up. $49.2 million went to male athletes, and $2.2 million went to female athletes.
And keep in mind, I remember I brought this story up on this show from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch a couple months ago. Mizzou spent $31.7 million last year in NIL.
It's a good chunk of change.
So you had Mizzou at 31.7, and then you had Texas A&M coming in at 51.4 million.
God almighty.
So you've got a what is that?
It's about a $20 million difference there.
Yeah, 19.
Yeah.
In Texas A&M, they're the football program that's won 10 games the last 2 years, right?
No, that would be Missouri.
Oh, it would be.
No, it's actually Missouri.
Thank you for correcting me.
Mm-hmm.
That's Mizzou.
Just kind of funny how that money can't buy you everything. It's nice.
Nope,
can't buy you everything.
So $200 million. I gotta.
Can we create our own conference?
Right. That's wild.
That's a lot of money. And I mean, that's something you have to imagine. They've probably been trying to work on that package for quite some time and put it together, and then to have it just immediately shot down, essentially,
I'd be heartbroken. I'd be heartbroken. Like, man, 200 million and you still say no?
Well, and it goes back to what I said before. So you have a situation where it wasn't even like a conversation, apparently.
Right.
Yeah. Like, no, I know, exactly.
Like a nah.
Mark knows enough, I guess.
Well, it's interesting. So Dellinger said 200 million. Brett McMurphy's saying it was 250 million.
Oh.
Yeah, let's keep
so
cranking that number.
So $250 million.
Yeah.
I mean, how desperate are them to get into a Power Four?
They could have kept my school open for 200 million. We didn't ask for that much. Like, they could have.
How much did you ask for?
It was about.
Was it like
30,
20?
About 30.
About 30 million?
Yeah. Memphis wouldn't even know it was gone.
I was about to say, so
They
you could
called us
have
Memphis South.
So Memphis could either save 8 Birmingham Southerns or fail to join the Big 12 conference, and they chose to fail to join the Big 12 conference. How does that make you feel, Damien?
Terrible, absolutely terrible.
All right, so Saturday I got on my zero turn from Artec Tractor.
Oh, I know you were excited.
Oh, it was. Not only did I knock out the backyard, the sides, but the front yard as well. And man, just a hot, steamy day. Didn't even break a sweat. It was fantastic. My life has been changed thanks to our friends at Artec Tractor in Jasper. How about the Mahindra 1635 tractor with loader? This is a 36 horsepower diesel engine, 0% financing for 84 months with zero money down, payments as low as $336 per month. It's the best-selling machine that they have there at Artec, so it's a great opportunity for you to save some money and get it financed just right at 0% financing for 84 months. Perfect for almost all applications, from a small landowner for someone who tries to do a lot of bush hogging. You can do all of that with this special Mahindra 1635 tractor. Go by and see Jeremy, Greg, and the guys. They're going to take care of you at Artec Tractor, located just north of Jasper on Highway 5, or just go to their website, artectractor.com. We'll do some Pat Ponders with Damien, Conrad, and Molly. That's next. 134 here on Jox. This is three-man front. Landry will be back with us later in the week. Conrad, Molly, Damian Mitchell in studio with us here on Jox. We do this each and every day, brought to you by Courtesy GMC. I come up with questions. They give me answers. This is Pat Ponders. Brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trussville, right off of exit 32 in Trussville, I-459. Go to their website, courtesybirmingham.com. All right, question number one. What was the biggest injustice from the SEC media poll that was released on Friday? It could be either the projected standings or it could be the preseason all-SEC team, whatever the case may be. Whatever injustice you think was the biggest.
The lack of Missouri love.
Like in the projected standings? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Molly goes Mizzou. Go ahead, Homer. Say it.
No.
I know you want to say the fact that Alabama wasn't listed as the SEC champion.
I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'll be honest. I was a little surprised, and maybe I shouldn't be because, I mean, we're going to, I guess, hear more optimistic takes on Auburn here than a lot of people. I was still kind of surprised that Auburn was as far down as they were because they are in a much better spot this year than they have the last couple of years, and it seems like the media is still really wait and see, very cautious with them, which I can understand, but I was surprised that they were still down on the double digits when all was said and done. I thought they'd be more like ninth.
Mine probably Vanderbilt being above Arkansas. And I understand Vanderbilt's they're catching a lot of heat, got a lot of momentum from last year, but I still don't think pound for pound, even me personally, think that they're better than Arkansas as a football team. I also think Arkansas was vastly disrespected.
Okay. Question number two. Last week in Atlanta, which SEC team moved the needle the most in your rankings?
Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz, I mean, for as comfortable as he was, I think he had a different type of confidence that even, Josh Heupel the second day, he had a very professional approach, even though he knows everything that's laid out because of what happened last season. But I think Missouri, now that they've gone back-to-back 10-win seasons, Eli Drinkwitz, it took him a while, but truly feels like he belongs in the SEC. Like, he doesn't need to go out here and continuously prove to people, hey, I know what I'm doing up here. And I think that Missouri, I still have a few question marks, but they got a little momentum because of what Eli did last week.
Yeah, Missouri was the one that definitely caught my attention the most, just in terms of I thought Eli was incredible, and just hearing everything that he had to say about his program. But I will say, I honestly, and part of it was, seeing him in person too, and how big DJ Lagway is. But I thought Florida, and just again the way that they kind of carried themselves, and hearing Billy Napier talk about the program, and they seem to have the quiet confidence about them where they understand the expectations through the media. And I've been, I feel like Florida and South Carolina have kind of been those two teams that people have been deciding on. And for me last week, that was really when it was like, all right, yeah, I'm going to stick with the Florida train over South Carolina, because I really thought I was impressed with how Billy Napier conducted himself, and getting to see some of those players, and especially Lagway in person. Pretty impressive.
I was probably going to go the Florida route, but I was also thinking this kind of more opposite. Like a team that I feel like I was higher in going into the season, and now maybe not so much, Texas A&M.
Okay.
I just feel like we didn't really hear much. And it was different me being here, so I didn't get to talk to any media or anything, but I just feel like we didn't hear anything about the Aggies.
Okay.
And Elko was on the last day, so.
Good point. All right, next question. Alabama offensive tackle Caden Proctor, who is 6'7", 360 pounds, he told the media in Atlanta he owns 170 bottles of cologne. Quoting now, if you're a big guy, you can't stink. You got to be fresh. The narrative is that a big guy stinks. Now, the question is, how many bottles of cologne or perfume do you own?
One. I have one.
I got two.
I have one bottle, but I don't use it. And it was a gift someone got me in like the 8th grade. But I have little like travel sprays that I like keep in my purse. But I don't own like a big bottle because it's expensive. Like,
It is
perfume is
expensive.
really expensive.
So what do you think? 170 bottles. Do
That's
you think that's more
That's
of
a lot of money.
more of a collection, or
I think so. It's almost like
I mean, 170. You're talking about like literally.
I mean, that's tens of thousands of dollars probably worth of.
And like
Yeah.
good perfume is a couple $100.
it's just people collect things. I think his.
You
is
can't
cologne.
stick, Damien.
No, especially at 6'7", 360. Yeah,
Mhm.
you make sure you're fresh, big dog.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I have to imagine you're probably good for life, right? I mean, I've had.
Yeah,
I use one kind of cologne, and I've used the same kind. I've gone through I think 2 bottles since I was like 17 or 18 years
Yeah.
old, because it's you rarely. I don't use it every day, but
Mhm.
lasts a long time.
Yep.
170 bottles.
All right, next question.
Whew.
Who or what is most likely to blame for the IT company's CEO being fired after he was caught on a viral Jumbotron video embracing a female employee at the Coldplay concert? I'm going to give you some options here. Blame the CEO himself, the kiss cam, or social media. Which one do you blame?
it's the CEO.
He cheated.
Right. If he didn't fall out, like
I was about to say if they didn't
Nobody would even
react to
know.
it, it did. Yeah.
nobody
would
would
have
know.
known.
I too think it is a CEO, because if he hadn't reacted, because again, he could have done it, and if he just
It would just have been
Just
another.
gone
if they
along
kiss
just
with
kissed
it.
like a normal couple would kiss, then nobody would have thought anything of it. And
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe there's one person there that's like, that's the astronomer dot whatever CEO. Like,
Right.
it's not like he's, you're not Jeff Bezos or somebody out there getting caught doing this. So yeah, it's 100% their fault for A, cheating, and B, not knowing how to handle themselves publicly when.
The lights are too bright.
Yeah, and you know what? Who knows? If you're having an affair, maybe that was a lesson for you, as you now understand with your mistress or whatever that, hey, if we get on a kiss cam, we're going to act casual, all right? We're not going to freak out.
All right, staying on that subject, I'm going to give you some other options on this next question. Which would be the worst concert to get caught cheating on your wife? Creed, Nickelback, Taylor Swift, or any boy band? Which one of the 4?
The worst?
Creed, Nickelback, Taylor Swift, or any boy band?
I'm going to say Taylor Swift, and the reason why is because there's a lot of Swifties out there, especially the Swifties on the internet, that are, I don't know if like mean is the right answer, but they would not take that lightly if, someone were caught cheating, like, oh, I can't believe you brought her to a Taylor Swift concert. I don't think they'd be too fond of that. The Swifties, at least.
Yeah, see, I think Taylor Swift, but for a little bit of a different reason. And I think mainly it's because your wife would be so mad that you didn't take her to the Taylor
That
Swift
too.
concert.
Right.
That would make it infinitely worse than any of the other ones, as cringy as it might be, just because you're in double trouble at that point.
Right.
Mhm.
I think now the funniest one would be a Shaggy concert.
It wasn't me.
That would be
Yeah,
good.
it wasn't me. That would be funny. But yeah, I think Taylor Swift would be the worst. My wife might be more mad that I didn't take her to see Taylor Swift, honestly, than the whole affair thing. Right?
I would be mad.
My first instinct was Creed, because it's like,
First off, why are you at a Creed?
Yeah, why are you at a Creed concert?
Hey, don't hate on Creed.
I ain't hating on them. It's just like, do they have love songs?
I'm sure they've got a couple. Sure, they got some.
Like, it just seems like an odd concert to be at, and then you're on a Creed kiss cam, and it's like, whoa, didn't expect this one. But no, it'll definitely be Taylor Swift, because again, like they said, if you're taking the mistress to a Taylor Swift
The
concert,
Swifties will come at you.
whew,
Yeah.
you playing with fire.
Mm-hmm.
My answer's Creed, though.
All right. That is today's Pat Ponders, brought to you by Courtesy GMC and Trustful. Goodbye, and see them off of exit 32 I-459.
What concert would your wife be the most upset to see?
Probably
Being
Taylor
a fair
Swift.
yeah.
No
Yeah.
question. All right, more three-man front on this Monday on Jox. .147 here on Jox. This is three-man front. Landry will be back with us later this week. Molly, Conrad, myself, Damian Mitchell wrapping things up here. I was texting with Brett Norsworthy in Memphis. He will be one of our featured guests tomorrow from WHBQ Radio. He had a great line to me. He said, Memphis was being considered in the Big 12 as about as long as Mark Stoops was the Texas A&M head coach. It's a great line.
That's a great line.
So if you're just now tuning in, what we're referring to is that Ross Dellinger had a story from Yahoo Sports that Memphis had offered the Big 12 $200 million to become a member of the Big 12 conference, and Brett Yormark said, we're not interested.
Yeah, not even a, hey, let's have a conversation about this. Let's sit down. Let's, weigh our options. Just, no, we're good. You can keep the money.
And then Brett McMurphy came back from On3 Sports, and he reported that the number was close to $250 million.
That's even worse.
$250 million, and you get turned down.
Yeah, just, is this that kind of thing where you just keep picking up the phone? All right, $300 million. Nope. 30 minutes later. $350 million. Closer, but still no.
Wild, man.
Well, it's interesting because the Pac-12 wanted them.
I know.
Right.
They did.
But it was interesting because the Pac-12 also wanted to pull in a potential Tulane and a UTSA, maybe a North Tech. You know, they wanted to raid the American.
Yeah.
And the American went behind closed doors, and they got some soft commitments from the Tulanes and everybody else to stay.
Yeah.
And make them happy. But I would think that Memphis is batting those eyelashes at the Big East for basketball and whoever else.
Yeah, I do just wonder if you're the Big 12, right? What would it be? You know, is there something that Memphis could bring to the table that makes you change your mind? Or is it just absolutely no way whatsoever? Is it, hey, you know, is there another, you know, university that you would, you know, is also willing to make some sort of financial commitment to join it? And then you have an even number of schools in the conference still. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of questions there in terms of, is there something they could actually do to get themselves into the Big 12, or is this just a no, regardless of which way you look at it?
Well, as long as I can remember, even back before the whole Oklahoma situation in Texas, that Memphis has tried multiple times to get on the Big 12's radar. Like, they wanted to try to be a part of the Big 12. And it has fallen on deaf ears every single time. And now they put their money where their mouth is.
Right.
And the Big 12 said, not interested.
Well, better luck next time, I guess.
I just don't
or
know.
Have fun in the Pac-12.
Well, the Pac-12 would take them in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
And,
Right.
and
Ain't
you
even
wouldn't have
asking for
to.
the money.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to give them any money.
Nope.
They could save that $200 million that they were going to give to the Big 12 and pay for their flights to Spokane, Washington for a Gonzaga basketball game.
About to say, load up those rosters. You can find some loopholes. $200 million.
Oh, yeah.
Load up that roster for a couple years. Go.
I think
compete.
this was a pivot from their NCAA trouble where they had the volleyball players that was doing the classwork for the basketball team.
I forgot.
Speaking of Tulane, it was mentioned in the Green Wave a minute ago. Big story this morning is that former BYU quarterback Jake Ratzloff has committed to transfer to Tulane after settling his rape lawsuit. Ratzloff denied the rape allegation, but admitted to premarital sex, a violation of BYU's strict honor code that would have warranted a 7-game suspension.
So John Summerall potentially with his new QB1.
I was speaking with someone in Atlanta last week who had made plenty of work appearances there in Provo and Salt Lake City. And we were having this conversation about the strict student honor code that they have there at BYU in Utah. And he was giving me the impression that on the campus of BYU or the campus of Utah, based on his experiences and just being around the student bodies, that let's not say they're as wild as Southeastern Conference schools, but they are not the places that they make you believe they are, if that makes sense. I'm trying to be kind.
I picking up what you're putting down, brother.
Well, and again, I'm not saying this is right, because it's not.
It is a college atmosphere.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Again, not saying this is right. Do you not think that you could maybe like look the other way one time for your quarterback that just won 11 games? I mean, again, I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying if you were to look the other way for somebody,
so
don't you think it would be that
to Conrad? Honor code or 11 wins?
All I'm saying, man, it's a strict honor code.
My school didn't have that kind of honor code, so I didn't have to worry about.
And you only won 9 games.
My school did, not on the extracurricular activities, but as far as we couldn't lie, cheat, or steal as a student at Birmingham Southern.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, couldn't do that either.
Yeah, but as far as like getting
the extracurriculars were kind of left up to you, though. You could kind of
exactly
fill those out.
7-game suspension.
Wanted to.
You better soak it all in, dog. Poor choice of words. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I thought that was intentional. That wasn't intentional.
No. Until
I'll
it didn't hit me
actually.
until I was finished. But 7 games, man.
So Retzloff goes from Provo, Utah to New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh boy.
So here's my other thing with BYU. So is it just an on-campus thing, or like
That's what I was thinking.
Because you can't tell me there's not some like hotel on the outskirts of campus that's right. Like, are we assuming this is just an on-campus rule?
No, you're a student. You are held accountable. No,
Well,
you can't.
What about on
What
summer
about-
break?
that's
I'm
what
not a
I'm saying.
student anymore.
And if I'm not on
I'm
the
on
campus,
break.
if I'm not on campus, I'm gonna say I'm at the,
Okay, let me ask
Cougar
you a
Inn.
question. The Cougar Inn. Oh, because BYU.
Yes.
Cougars. I was thinking of like Cougar as an older lady. That's what I was thinking. So back to your Birmingham Southern Code.
yeah,
You said you couldn't lie.
cheater still.
Okay. If you weren't on campus and you got caught stealing something, would you be held accountable?
I don't know. I never
Probably not. You're not on campus.
Yeah, on campus.
I think that just applies to like school supplies and
Right.
stuff, right?
Yeah,
Whatever, you guys.
but yeah, it's tough over there at Brigham Young, dog.
You want to win 11 games, Pat? You want to win some football games?
It's tough.
Mm.
But 7 games, I just, you know what? I'll just hit the transfer portal, man.
We will be live at Social Taco. Join us tomorrow from 10 until 2. Thanks for joining us. For Molly, Conrad, Landrum on assignment, and Damian Mitchell, I'm Pat Smith. Have a great afternoon, everyone.